he has to teach me how to do this because he's gonna not be available for a couple.
All right, there we go, boys.
Streams.
Best,
we're live. Okay, hello.
Best tech crew in the universe, guys. Definitely, 100%. Stream did not screw itself over, and to which I had to restart it. But hello, and welcome to Theta Thursdays.
And before we get started, I just have one thing I need to say. It didn't really hit.
I'm getting some audio lag. Why is this happening? Bear with me.
But
Hold up. Ragnar, you just got cut off like 8 times by my PC, which is apparently wanting to shit itself once again for no random reason. I hope the stream is still up. I don't know. I can't see anything.
I just wanted to say sorry to him. The stream's still up. I'm looking at it.
Is it? Okay, because your audio for me is cutting out like crazy. I don't know what's going on with my PC, but my whole screen...
Oh, he died. Sorry, guys.
My whole screen is just black right now. I have no clue what's going on or what my PC's doing.
I see us just fine. Can you hear us?
Now I can hear you. My browser has crashed though, so
you got this whole like Seattle like.
Oh, sorry, Rick.
Sorry, it's the my PC, man. Mysterious wonders.
Did you fix it?
For the most part, I mean, I can't see Twitch chat or anything because my browser crashed. But
okay, well, it's working on the stream. I can hear everyone.
As long as they hear me, that's all that matters.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if y'all heard, but I want to apologize to Shura. I said something last night that I regret. And Shura, if this ever comes to find you, and I don't find you before then, I'm sorry, and I'll personally say it to your face once I find you.
I think Shura will be okay.
Yeah.
So tonight, now that hopefully we don't have any more internet fiascos, we have a couple guests with us. Obviously, Mifune and I are back, like normal. Ragnar is joining us again as a regular. Cauldronborn is joining us again this week. He has only one arm strapped down today. Dia is a former courtmate and is going to be joining us for our topic today. And then we have a special guest who is not in the Imperium, but I enjoy hanging out with him. Rich Richmond will be hanging out with us today.
Yes, I will. It'll be my pleasure for the next however many hours.
You sound super excited. And I would be too.
This is your all-access pass to like people who have no filter.
Yeah.
So, we are going to be covering a couple different things today. The first thing and the biggest thing probably to get into is the ESS. I know we talked about it last week, but it was brand new and like fresh off the press, so not much going on. So I wanted to bring in some people who have been engaging in it this week. I know I have a lot, almost every evening. I know Rich has been doing it a lot, and we wanted to talk about kind of what we're seeing. So Rich, how is it from, I guess, we'll just start with you, small gang side. How has the ESS changes been for you?
Oh, it's like an early Christmas package. There is so much potential for content. There's not much in terms of strategy and development so far, but there's potential for so much more. It's an early Christmas for us. We can now finally loot from those who do not wish to fight us, and we can force an interesting fight, and force those to commit for those who do wish to fight us. I love it.
I have your dead body, by the way.
Oh yes, it was quite a good fight. Unfortunately, being myself, they shot me first. Being the rest of my courtmates, the rest of my courtmates just slaughtered them afterwards.
That's not quite what I saw when I got there. It was a funny story. It worked out. I was in a group and we filamented in we were in Owasso or something. We're like, let's just filament again. We hit it and it dropped us right in the middle of catch in a system, and I was like, oh god, there's 62 in local. And then we descanned, it was like a Caracal fleet. We're like, oh my god, they're fighting over the ESS. So we warp over there and there's Rich Richmond's group fighting like 30, 40 caracals and like a nightmare at 250k. Was that in your group or was that a brave caracal? Or sorry, nightmare.
Oh, that nightmare's ours.
Oh,
You
okay.
think Brave could afford to run that? No chance.
No.
Well, after the things we killed later, maybe, but that thing was hitting out to like 250. It's crazy. So we showed up. Rich, as you said, was already dead. So my crew, group that I was with, we were scripping and scrapping, and we ran everybody off. But unfortunately, when we showed up, because we scared everybody away, the ESS paid out, so nobody got the money.
Well, those who ratted in the first place got the money. From my
It
perspective,
was a
we
big
wish to
one
contest.
too.
Yeah, it was. We wish to contest them on the ESS, but well, they had it bubbled and they had it under lockdown, and we had to take a risk. We all walked in. We did our strategies. I was targeted first, followed by Rabbi Atom Deathstroke. He then fell pretty quickly. Unfortunate for him. We'll have to get some blessings from him later. But the rest of the battle, we slaughtered them, we beat them, and then eventually, once the battle was teetering down, you came in and we're like, that many NATOs? No, thank you.
My only complaint about ESS is they should allow when if you're in the dead space pocket, like in the bubble. Well, maybe not in the bubble, but you see the bubble on grid, you should be able to use probes to scan stuff down and warp to it instead of the warp endpoint.
That's kind of what we discovered. A lot of it's like faction warfare mechanics, and it's been very interesting this week playing around with the different comms, whether you want to fight outside or you want to fight inside. Um, Cauldron, you've been defending the ESS more, or have you been running around too?
A little bit of both.
So what's the defense been like besides like the horrible atrocities the first few days?
I think it kind of depends on how soon you're able to show up with like something like large enough to counter what's already there. Otherwise, you're just gonna end up like trickling and feeding. So you got to kind of 5 minutes is really not a lot of time to get your guys together and what kind of stuff you need to counter what they probably have, or it's really iffy.
Have you, in the Imperium, thought of a composition or a strategy in defending these ESSs?
We're
Or have
kind
they
Sit
of
not
at
been...
0 and wait for you to warp in and face fuck people.
Oh,
We've
please.
been some of us have been using like our standard clerical doctrine, but just swapping everything over to like afterburners, or carrying an extra afterburner in the cargo to swap from an MWD to an afterburner, because they still have enough range to even with rapid lights. There's enough range in DPS to knock out other cruisers and up the battleship size things, and they've got their own logi that's part of the doctrine, so it works.
Yeah, most of the time when I'm going out, I just bring a couple scythes and caracals.
But we're
Like
kind of
early.
at war right now, so we haven't like had a ton of time to be like, this is the ESS. Because I can guarantee, like, if we got to like, if no one was in our house and we were just happy-go-lucky farming and ratting and stuff like that away, we would be using the blingiest, stupidest shit ever to defend these. It'd be Vargas.
It would be 2.5 billion ISK officer fitted Macarials, and there will be about 30 of them with an insta scanning rapier, or insta scanning Hugin, I think it is, one of the two, along with let's see what else would be there. There would be a Lachesis in the doctrine, totally blinged out Lachesis, maybe a Bargist, a couple Garmers.
I'm not kidding. Like, that's
You got it all
like
wrong.
what
It's gotta be
Yeah.
marshals.
we literally have.
I've
We
I've
have
heard
a whole
all
tank
this.
Vargas doctrine.
I've heard of this, but my issue with just this fantasy of putting all this bling and all this excess, and somebody talked about how they were going to put 5 Dominixes and a Rapier and a Hugin, each with webs and target paints, and they're going to put a Lachesis, and I thought to myself, you're going overboard with this. You're committing
No.
way too many resources just for such a crappy little ESS.
If I can guarantee shitting on small groups and making them cry with my blinged out Marshal sitting at 0 with blasters, I am all for it.
Well, that's the
Here's the
problem.
problem. What if they don't go in?
Yeah, if they don't
Then
go
they
in
don't get
or
the
they don't
ISK, and
show
it's
up,
not my fucking problem because I'm not in it for the money. I'm in it for the tiers.
like, are you literally going to be sitting there in a marshal waiting for hours for somebody to come through?
If we weren't at war, yeah, I would.
Yeah,
There is literally better things to do with your time, in my
I have
opinion.
5 alts, and I don't give a shit, so I'll just sit at 0 with one of them and wait for a motherfucker to try.
Like, you don't understand. Like, in the Imperium, a lot of like I have a spare character that all she does is like PvP and like extra stuff that just like hangs out. And so she's always in Theta ready to go. And that's Dawn. It's for everybody who wants to know. Dawn is always gonna be the one trying to kill you. Then we have like my 3 or 4 other alts that actually make the money. And those ones like have slowly started learning PvP skills out of necessity. But yeah, like honestly, that's what Theta is about. Is we sit there and we're like, there may be only like 20 or 30 of us at a time, depending upon what's going on. But like, we sit there ready to
Everyone
just
also
like
has like 3 or 4 characters or
go
more.
murder things.
Back,
We can't do that right now, unfortunately. Like
yeah,
we're busy.
I believe it was back before all of the hell changes during the golden age of industrialism, I guess I'll call it, for
It was definitely
Goonswarm.
it was the platinum. It wasn't the gold.
The fucking platinum age. It was literally, you would have everybody. You'd have like what, 150 to 200 people in Theta Fleet,
Okay,
all
let's
on
be
their
honest here,
alts.
Mifune.
Most of
About
those are
what?
crabs
Yeah, most
when
of
that
them
was
were
going on.
crabbing supers.
Look,
You know,
no,
not
no,
wanting
no, no.
to
If
actually
you
murder.
read the MOTD, if you read the MOTD, it literally said if you are crabbing or if you are mining, get out of this damn fleet because it was
Wow,
for the
you're
response fleet
saying that
only.
you put a warning on the fleet and then people just ignored it because there are no consequences? Holy shit,
Everybody that plays
wow.
this game knows that nobody reads the MOTDs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty true.
Well, the problem with just simply camping one ESS is there's many ESS, and if you only wish to keep your crabbing to one system, thanks to the dynamic changes, that's going to be less and less profitable.
Actually,
Which
that
I'm
Well,
is a
glad to
point.
hear.
That's a point I
it's
wanted to bring up. Thea, go
like
ahead.
it's one of those things where like I've already been cooking up a doctrine, and we've been talking about it on our hell camp, and it's really this is going to become an extension of JU standing slash theta. Like it's not going to be that big of a deal. You're going to see us probably using nothing but blops and all of their the counters that come with them. It's going to be 10-year jump range using a blops off of the Sino beacon in the system. It's going to be super easy.
But we
Wait,
don't get to do
and
that right now.
you wait, this is something you just developed now?
No,
Or you're
we
still it's
thought
still
of
in development?
no, we thought that's a plan idea, like, but we don't get to do that right now. So a lot of us are just
Yeah.
more fun theory crafting. But I wanted to get it. You said it's a negative feedback system. This is a positive feedback system, and from let me tell you here, what I'm seeing is our one of our highest systems in Delve is E3OI. There are people, ratting in E3OI. There are people defending and killing shit in E3OI. As we kill people, the ratting goes up.
I've never
And the
seen it
ESA,
like drop below 110 in E3OI.
it's
For
it's
the
like
and like the pot's
130.
gotten up to like 200, 300 mil, so
Yeah.
it's
I
not
So
think it's
the
like
up to
rat
132 right now.
so right now what we're seeing is you rat in the system that's got a high bounty, and that attracts baddies to come and take the stuff, right? Well, then you kill the baddies, or they kill you. It doesn't matter either way, honestly. As long as the destruction keeps up with above that threshold number, well, now your system goes up again, and so now you rat more, and now you've got more money in the SS, which attracts more people, which means you get more people to murder. So what I'm seeing is this is a positive feedback system, like everything else CCP has put into this game, and they did not realize it. Look at Delve. The systems that
Well,
have no PvP go down.
we've seen groups actually purposely rat in a certain ESS system to artificially inflate it. And rather than, sitting inside the ESS, they actively hunt people who try to go for this ESS. It's a great system, and I applaud those who are, well, bold enough to take this risk.
Oh yeah, no, like I love it. I'm having a great
Hunting
time.
PvE, doing DD sides, doing PvE is one thing, but to hunt down another player, that's a different game altogether.
See,
well,
like
not
I'd
really.
had to say that there's some problems with the environment. Like the way I would fix the environment is I'd make that bubble grid wide, and then have
Oh,
a jump gate. Have a jump gate in the center that the jump gate disables while the bounty's being stolen, and it disables for 15 minutes. If someone activates the bounty in the center, the actual hack, the jump gate disables for 15 minutes. So you're stuck there. You commit, and it's grid wide.
so
No,
no like
So it would be like
environment.
it would be like basically the first room of an incursion where you can't leave at all. It
yeah,
doesn't let you warp out.
Well,
Yeah,
he's
and
saying you wouldn't even be able to warp out, which I think is a little tough.
I think that's a
no,
bit extreme. I mean, even if you make the grid 1,000, like I don't know, you increase it from what it is currently to even if you double it in size, it's you're still going to try and catch up to a 100 MN ship that's already boated into sniping range. It's not ideal, and well, people are still going to get out. It wouldn't change anything. For those who believe that the ESS changes and also the Hick bubble would stop kitey nano groups, the snake implants and the bling are not what makes us so incredibly hard to kill. That's not what makes us skilled. What makes us skilled is our coordination and our
Skill.
individual,
All right.
see,
manual piloting.
Hey, Ragnar said be
now, Rich,
nice. You know
I
that.
I
I completely disagree
I
with you
can't.
when people are bypassing the mechanics and getting outside of the 70 km bubble to use their actual MJDs on nightmares.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean,
I
that's part
mean,
of the
Yeah,
thing.
and
it's one of
They
those
have
things
to
where I
commit
think,
to tachyon,
well,
which have their negatives. Like you get close to that nightmare. There are ways to get close to it. You just use a couple meat shields in the way. And it can't hit you super close.
it's one of those things where if it was like a grid wide and the only way in and the only way out was that warp gate, I think that would be giving CCP the result they want. I also think that the bounties should be taking closer to like 50% of the bounties and pay out every hour, maybe even
You know,
60%.
I
It's one of those.
it is hard to get to those ESSs sometimes in time, especially if a region is able to. Have you like Rich? Have you figured out how the timing works on these things?
Yeah,
yes.
it's 3 hours from the start of someone ratting.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Because
every hour, 50%. My God, are
No,
you trying
no,
to kill the content that this thing is trying to bring in?
no. I'm trying to buff it, but the problem is you have.
Buff?
I'm up for 70% contribution. I don't care about the contribution. I want it to be worthwhile, but I don't like the idea that someone has to commit to a 3 hour session if they're doing anything major.
well, if it
They
filled
could
up fast,
steal it
I could do shorter
themselves.
time.
And
Well,
that's
like
why if even if it took 100%, if it took 100%, I'd be for it as long as it paid out every hour.
Well, so like what we've experienced as well is like because like let me tell you like filamenting anywhere for like good ESSs is pretty much all been like Owasa, Cobalt Edge, Paragon Falls, things like that, right? There's a couple other random places, but that seems to be like the big place that's got like a ton of money. And we get there, and like all of them are timed for the same thing, so they all pay out at the same time. And if you don't get in there at the right time, like you either can only get one, and now you gotta wait 3 hours to 2 to 3 hours to get any money, or they aren't fat enough yet. So
I
that's like
think I think you need a bit more imagination on how to solve that. And the answer to solving that is you have multiple heisting teams, and you also don't commit all of your reinforcements to a single ESS. You make them mobile, and you respond to whichever one they respond to first. And
well, I guess
besides,
it depends on your goal.
you don't need to fight inside an ESS. You can fight on the outside, and fighting on the outside is absolutely hilarious. When Brave can't combat scan you down and warp
It is
ramjags onto
hilarious.
you,
It is hilarious.
they
They
don't know how
can't.
to deal with it.
It is a completely different system. You're like, crap. I can't. It's because it's a dead space pocket. You can't warp in the site.
Yeah.
So you need to be able to move around. But with an AB, it makes things interesting. And you have to decide like how are you going to respond and like doing. And the thing is, when you descan, because the sites are so close together, you can't descan to see if they're on the gate versus in the
Yes, you
site.
can. You just set
Okay.
the D-scan range to 220,000 kilometers.
Oh dear God.
Hey, the
Also, you can do a
implants and
directional scan.
the implants and the bling aren't what makes me good.
That stuff's just
So,
icing on the cake.
Rich,
Just icing on the cake, sure.
Rich,
Hey, I
a
mean,
question from the Twitch chat for Rich. But just how rich is he? Is the question.
Yeah, how rich is Rich Richmond?
well,
I'd
it
say
all depends
he's
on how you evaluate wealth. I'm rich
Numbers.
enough in terms of how I control other people. I enter local and people will dock up.
well. I would say he's
It's
low
magic.
middle class, at least in Delve standards.
In Dell standards,
By
middle
PvP
class.
standards, I get by. By the high sec standards, I get by. By Delve standards, I get by. Well,
Okay,
you
get
see, I'm a
get my
my
Okay.
primary
vanilla.
job is a PvPer. My primary income is PvP. I
Get
I live and breathe PvP. PvP flows in and out of my veins. It's all I do.
get
Rich,
by
those
is
metrics
like
don't
10 vanilla.
match.
Now, are we talking like getting by, like having to ask your parents for half the rent every month kind of buy?
Because getting by in low sec is like delve welfare.
Oh, getting by. I mean, I I nearly always have at least one or two or three high grade pod sets somewhere in Eve. My ship always has Dead Space modules.
Yeah,
Generally speaking,
he's fine.
I fly Blink.
Okay, so you're an average Theta member. Got it.
Well, my
Yeah,
interceptor is worth more than a carrier's, and I try not to go any further. I try
that's
not to go
Yeah.
ridiculous.
overboard.
See, Rich would
It's
fit.
not that hard to
eh,
do. You literally just get one purple mod, and there you go.
I
See,
have only one. I've only ever bought one purple mod for my Titan. I was gonna buy a second one, but then Docs had to fucking roll it with an abyssal and bricked it. He's like, "Well, it's still almost as good as like the worst officer mod," and I'm like, "But it's not purple anymore." I I absolutely hate the abyssal roll color. That ugly burnt orange. Who thought that was a good idea? Don't they know?
I thought it was
Well,
red.
this is why you don't gamble with missiles. But I consider myself a professional PvPer. I'm not some idiot with a cheap caracal going into these ESS sites with
Well,
like
you
a
got to
born to
start
lose tattoo
somewhere.
on my bio. No, that I don't do that. I go in, I do my job, I get out. I slaughter anything in between. You know,
Are you a
I'm not
ninja?
an amateur.
I know.
I know.
I know, Greg. Like at first, like I will admit, Rich. At first, I was like, God, Rich is such an asshole. But like, I don't know. Like as time has gone on, and we got to have that long discussion when I was in Florida, I was like, no, Rich is a cool dude. He just like puts on like his PvP face, but Rich is a normal person, just like anybody else. I
Want to
I
know
enjoy
who's
Rich.
not a normal person like everyone else?
Your mom?
Joey Zam.
Oh, that's true.
He a bitch, and he gets baited too easily.
I like Joey, but you
No,
know,
he's a piece of shit.
Well, some people in chat are asking, am I for real? Well, all I do is PvP. I enjoy PvP. I'm the reason why some people dark and some people undark. I create content, and sometimes I become the content, and other times I make content of other people.
and that's why I have your dead body on
Redline, I'm
my
holding my
hanger now.
tongue because Don says I can't insult anyone who's a streamer, so you're lucky. Joey Zam, however, is not one, and he got baited so fucking easy on a nearest. It was the easiest thing I've done in my life.
Don't tell
Not
him
even.
how.
I don't fucking care. They could look at the kill. Like, Joey knows, and that's all that matters.
I
Ragnar,
will
are you
say
okay?
Ragnar's like on fire today. I will
Ragnar
say, Rich,
sounds like he needs a hug. Like
you
he
know,
needs a hug. Is what he needs.
Rich,
No,
you
Ragnar was
bring
on
up,
Everclear last night.
Rich, you bring up a lot of like small gang stuff, which is great. Honestly, like it's part of the game that I've never specifically gotten to do, like with just a small gang, but I do still get the small gang in Theta because like a lot of us will go just do random shit together. Um,
You're in 15 NATOs! That's not a small gang at all!
15 NATOs, that is a small gang. What are you talking about?
listen,
No, come on.
if it's under 30, it's a small gang.
Yeah.
No, come on. Under 10 is small gang for
No,
me.
that's a
I mean,
nano
we try
gang.
to keep it as low as possible. We won't even whore on each other's kill mails just to keep it as low as possible.
Why would we hoard each other's? Actually, I would hoard on Ragnar's kill mill just to do it. I would totally kill Ragnar. Like, Ragnar's going down on that Bargus. Pew!
My Vargas is too
No, no.
expensive
I
for
mean,
you to touch.
if we catch something that we've blatantly gonna be able to kill, like no, we won't even help each other. We won't even point the target just so you can get the solo kill mail, or it's just so you can get two people on the kill mail instead of three.
See, like, we don't worry about that, but the thing is we can still do so. Like, to give you an idea, when a group like yours or just any other small gang group, whether it be a high sec puppy group that's like, hey, let's go down, and do stuff, and they fill them into Delve, and they're like, ah, shit. Like, literally, that's been the response a lot of times. Is like, ah, shit. Anytime we see a streamer filament into Delve,
Oh, we
um,
hunt them down. We stream snipe them and hunt them down like the dog.
I think it's
What?
it's not allowed.
no, no,
Who
no.
fucking cares? What are they gonna do? Cry to Twitch?
I
I don't
forget
know.
the guy's name, but there's a Chinese dude that used to hunt in Karma Fleet space, and he would hunt in a Cinnable all the time. And it was like practically an insta-warp Cinnable, and I can't remember his name for the life of
Pogue
me.
was?
Yeah, that's the one. Pogue was, and he would stream on like a Chinese knockoff site, because like they
It's
didn't
not
have...
PaxX.
No, it's not
PaxX is good
PaxX.
enough to...
No. It's Pogue was the name.
I remember
And
that asshole.
we would hunt this man down so much because he would not blur out anything on his stream except for the system he was in, and it was so easy to tell which Karma Fleet system he was in. And we would
Well,
hunt the man down.
most streamers can't blur absolutely everything, so it's pretty easy to figure out where they
How
are
about like
and hunt
blurring
them
your
down.
entire screen at some point? It just becomes ridiculous. But we still get to like small gang in, inside the giant coalitions. You find the people that you like to hang out with, and you like do things like.
Oh
You
yeah, I've
know,
experienced Jack. He's a pretty good combat interceptor. Sorry, a combat scanner, and he flies pretty well. I enjoy dealing with him. He's one of the
Farjek.
most irritating people I've had to fight against in Delve.
Farjek is
Hopefully
an
after the
absolute
war,
legend.
hopefully after the war I get to see him again. And the other person is SPS 2000. He's quite a capable interceptor pilot.
he's been
If only he
Theta
was
all
more
the time.
expensive.
Huh.
Yeah,
Both
He has
those
expensive
guys,
stuff. It's just we're at war right now, so we're not
SP
bringing it
and
out for you guys.
SP and Farjek are both part of the Karma Fleet small gang group. We run around like we're starting to pick up the whole like nano gang kind of fighting style and put it to use, try it out. It's really fun. It's really fun doing small gang stuff, especially with those guys because they're like competent pilots. They know what they're doing. They know what they're capable of.
Yeah, like we just have such a good time as a group doing all sorts of different things. Like, there is something to say though. Like, as a small ganger, like you guys get to have fun with your like super blingy like Orthrus and stuff or whatever you're gonna use. But there's also some satisfaction of dropping a Hodred on somebody and just deleting them.
Well, there's even more satisfaction when you take that Hordred away from them.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
but that
possible.
usually doesn't happen unless we're in a war like this.
Yes,
I mean, it
unfortunately,
Well, at least not in
one
Delve.
one is not able to freely, willy-nilly drop capitals like you could pre-war, which is both downsides and upsides.
Well, I mean,
We
we'd
haven't been
still
dropping
drop.
capitals for a year. I don't know what. Anyway.
No, well,
This
Don, I don't
one's
know what
it's
you're talking about, bitch. I would drop every day before the war on like anything that fucking moved.
yeah, but not in your super because I couldn't tank for shit. You're
Well,
dropping
yeah,
your
I would
fucking
never.
Hodred.
No, but in
Yeah,
our
that's what I
Hodreds.
said.
What I'm talking about is people are like, oh, they dropped Titans and Supers on us, and we were in like 10 caracals or whatever. I'm like, no, bitch, no. If it's been in the last 10 months, it ain't happening.
Yeah.
I still
because I'm the one who's telling people to do that, so like I know what's actually happening.
I still remember when we dropped those 12 Titans and the whole suit and Theta super fleet on the 50-man Drake gang that came in. That came in through Fountain. I think it was a test Drake gang because they got bored.
Yeah, we've done that.
See those are the fun times. Those are the fun times. I have at least 12 kill marks on my super that's from those Drakes.
I remember probably the funniest thing that we had happen. There was a bomber gang. It was Vic Jefferson. That guy is one of the banes of my existence, and I'm kind of glad he's not here. But Vic Jefferson was really good at dropping like 30 to 50 bombers on people and just murdering carriers left, right, and center. And he was really hard to bait because they would instantly like starburst the second they warped anywhere. So it'd be really hard to get them all. You'd get like maybe one or two. So getting their gang down was difficult. So one time, multiple times actually, but one particular time, I was handling the subcaps and like no one told me or anybody else this is happening. But like a Cyno goes up, like somebody gets tackled, they light their Cyno, and I say bridge, 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 and all the subcaps take it. And then Kumi's like, no, don't. Too late. All of us bridge and he's like, don't move. And we're trying to hold still. We're like, okay, what's going on? All of a sudden, like 20 Titans drop in and just start smart bombing and deleted the entire bomber fleet, but also deleted us too. Like, well, if you guys had told me, I wouldn't have bridged. But like, we don't get to do that anymore.
Yeah.
Is it bad that I kind of miss Olmeca?
No.
No, I miss
No.
Bomber's Bar.
No, fuck him. Does Omeka
No.
stream?
Not anymore.
Oh,
He
so
stopped.
he's not a streamer?
I mean,
Okay, then Omeka can eat my fat chode. He's a piece of shit too.
but
Did
like,
he
no,
join like NC or something? Where did he go?
he joined NC
He's-
and then he kind
He's
of
doing his
quit the game.
PhD, but still finds time to stick his hand in where it doesn't belong.
No,
the problem with the problem with dropping things and the way the difference between my small gang and yours is I'd say it's all about learning from our perspective. We always try to fight the biggest with the smallest and would fight larger with smaller, more with fewer. And while I understand the appeal of dropping supers, titans, horde dreads, whatever, there's not a lot to be learned from it. And that's, I
That's
You
think, the
not
biggest
learn
key
true
thing
at
you
about
learn
a
all.
who
small
the
gang.
pores are who have Tech 1 fighters. That's what you learn.
Yeah, well, that is true. No, actually, like, to give you an idea, Rich, so, like, even if we don't use supers, like, we still have to. And it's a challenge for me, and I reach out to the sources I have to learn, but, like, people like you or NSH or
No,
uh,
NSH are
I,
terrible. Don't even
I,
try to group them in
I
with
know,
him.
I don't like them either, but still, like, I
No,
still have,
no,
like,
no,
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 hold on.
no.
They bring shit into Delve, and I have to figure out how to deal with it. Because, like, sometimes I can just throw 100 harpies at the problem and deal with it. But there are times where that just will not work. And now my brain is racked. I am not a good FC. Like, that is not my
NSH is really
skill
easy to
set.
deal with. You
Yeah.
just gotta bring a combat prober and a bunch of dictors and just keep cloaking dictors and all their bookmarks because they use the same ones over and over again and
Yeah,
nobody
they are
their
terrible.
their FC is the one that warps them around. Once he's dead, they just go and hide and combat log or
That
Yeah.
makes sense.
once the FC goes, like none of the rest of the, I guess they don't trust anybody else with fleet command because once their main FC goes down, that's it. They're done. They Nobody else warps them around. They just go combat log and wait for it to clear out before they leave.
I mean, like, I appreciate having reasonable gangs, especially if they bring fun stuff that, like, if we can get away with, like, just throwing battleships at, we'll be happy to do it. But sometimes because people are scared of like some stuff that's going to drop on them, they bring things that we can't deal with unless we bring certain ships. Like, I absolutely hate the nano lifestyle of Orthrises and Garmers where I can't catch. Like, at that point, I'm just like, you know what? Run around Delve, have fun. Like, do it. I don't care at this point. I can't catch you. I'm not going to feed 2 billion trying to kill you when you've purposely made your ship uncatchable. Like, fuck it. I don't care.
Oh no, there's nothing
It's not
uncatchable. Fraternity kills us all the time because, well, they
Because
know.
they're not going to
Because
get
they just
dropped.
drop everything
They're
on you
No,
because they're not
no, they don't
threatened.
drop any. No, they don't drop anything on us these days. They hardly ever drop anything unless we tackle
Well,
a super.
Nixon's dropped
No, it's
on me
more of a
yesterday
case of
ago.
what type of fleet did you have? I mean, they're not going to drop on
Cruiser.
our 5-man gang. How many
Frat
do you have with
drops
you?
on anything that moves. 'Cause
Yeah.
they're not threatened by NPC or anything. They can just drop and do whatever
That
because
is a great
they're
segue to our
all
next.
botters, and their entire alliance is based on botting and protecting those botters. So that's why they have the ISK to throw around, and they're also not threatened. And this is a hill I'll die on, and I will never not say the entirety of fraternity are botters and should be purged from the game.
Oh, I'm going to address somebody. Greg Haza. Somebody said,
I
for
love
me to
Greg.
find them in game and kill them. Well, I tell you what, 2019, 12th, 1st of December, I did find you. I did kill you. E3OI, Harpy, last hit, Confessor. There you go.
Oh, Greg
Damn.
just got fucking roasted.
Yeah. All right. So another question from the chat was, how do we rate Headhunter Jax on the small nano gang PvP fighting scale? I rate him as absolute trash. I am sorry.
He is one of those guys that just tags along in like a
The-
cloaky legion that can shoot out to 120, and he just sits there and
The only
Warzone
thing,
kills.
the only thing that Headhunter Jax is even remotely good at in this game is looking at a target and saying, "I can kill that shitter," or "I have a chance of losing my Loki, and so I'm not going to even try."
he's as risk averse as they come.
Yeah,
It
to give you an
just
idea, because I don't know if you've had to deal with this. Headhunter Jax and his band of merry men live in 1DQ, and all they do all day is camp the gates in various gates and jump bridges and things like that,
Oh,
right?
I don't consider them small gang. They're PvPers and they do it on a small scale, but they're not small nano gang players. They are what I call like local terror groups, like local threat groups.
They don't
They're like
PvP. They don't like
well, as
they
long as they
kill.
kill somebody, I mean, technically, gate camping does count as a PvP, but
They don't keep
effectively
camping.
the simple farmers of Goon Space. They are the Ferrata, Victrix, and the Good Stacks of Goon Space. When I was in test for my brief 80 something days, I had to deal with that as well. So, there were groups that, well, just camp the gates and just ambush players who don't know better. And as soon as any kind of decent player comes along, they either scatter like flies or they die. I've encountered these groups. I've encountered, say, Ferrata, Victrix, and Good Stacks. Every time we fight them, we slaughter them because they're not nanogangers. They're not. They, they primarily go after people who don't know better.
Don't fight back, right? Headhunter Jax, I don't think it was his particular ship, but one of his buddies, because they sit at like 100 kilometers in T3 in Legions with their lasers, and then if you try, like, even get close, they just like warp out. So like
they're
you
not
can't
there
catch.
to fight. They're there to kill. That
Oh,
is
they
it.
do.
There is
They're there
no.
to terrorize you. They're a local terror group. That's what I consider
Yeah, they're
them.
not even
They're
that
not doing a very good job.
I
people, but
think the biggest
Like
thing I've
they're
seen them
an
kill,
annoyance at best.
the biggest thing I've seen them kill is a Hodred, a YOLO Hodred from Amok. That was like, oh my god,
yeah,
there's a bubble sitting 100 km off the gate. I wonder if I shoot at it, if I'll kill it and get a kill mail in my Hodred. And then they go to shoot at it and they get tackled and they go, oh my god, I'm tackled in 1DQ, help.
no, we have had creative solutions for Headhunter Jax and his band of merry men because they, they'll sit decloaked. So we've had, and it's been months since we've been able to do this, so I'll talk about it. We've had one of our guys sit in a jackdaw with probes, and he'll he'll like warp close to where the Legion was, and the Legion will decloak, like, I can shoot this jackdaw, and then he warps the rest of us over to him, and we're all in bombers, and we just delete the thing before he has a chance to even like cloak up or get out. It's so like that's the only way we've ever found a way to deal with them. You got to keep them decloaked long enough to do it. But
I have to say, it is admirable that he is currently rank 2 in ships destroyed and ISK destroyed, according to Zekiel. So even though his playstyle is very different to mine, he does do. He is very active by Zekiel PvP standards.
Well, you also have to think 1DQ on average has anywhere between 600 and 1,500 people on almost a near constant basis. And I'm going to assume a good 30 to 40% of those are people who do not have scouting alts and are not being smart about their decisions and are just YOLOing to the gates thinking, I'm in my home space. I'm 100% safe. And then they get caught in a bubble and die.
I've seen them down like countless jump freighters, regular freighters full of stuff, Rorquals, capitals. Like they're just
Say,
all over 1DQ killing that stuff. That just like people that just aren't paying attention or could care less.
I'm sorry, but when you're, separating the chaff from the wheat on the richest group in the game, yeah, you should be at least number 2 on Killboard.
Well, he's number 1 for 1DQ, 19,670.
yeah, so now that is a question. This segues into our next topic because we've been chit chat, and I love chit chats, but the soda and Svilly's comments throughout the week about how they're going to take 1DQ, or sorry, Delve in general, and then that they're going to live here better than we did, and that Delve is a super great place to be. Well, I laughed hysterically listening to that. My personal favorite comment was period basis is 100% safe ratting. And when I told that to the entire gate camp and Theta and everyone laughed out loud as hard as possible because clearly you guys don't know what you're doing or how period basis in Delve works.
Is period
You know,
basis added to our bounty list of where we can claim bounties for killing ratters and miners?
Probably.
Probably
Technically
it's not
right now, I
100.
think.
I don't think it is.
I would just tell them, hey, you're right. It is completely and
100.
really safe.
Look,
Go ahead and bring your supers. Go ahead. Start super ratting.
like
You do you.
Sadis from, I believe, as far as I can remember, from like 2017 to 2020, Sadis was in charge of trying to rent out period basis, and this was back when renting space was actually popular in Eve Online, right? And the fact that he couldn't even sell a singular system, he started renting it
Got a
out
couple.
the couple here and there. But as far as my memory recalls, he started selling them to goons, and like not even goons wanted to buy their own system because period basis is period basis.
So
Well,
talk about
unfortunately, I'm not Villy, and I don't run nullsec alliances or nullsec coalitions. But what I do know is there's a limited amount of regions that are capable of hosting a nullsec super coalition, and to my knowledge, those regions are Delve Period Basis, Omist, if you can deal with the logistic challenges, the drone regions, I believe Declan Branch and Paragon Sol Esoteria. Those are the best places to host a nullsec super coalition. The other areas to try and host one is subpar, but that's all I know. I'm afraid I don't run
Mifune,
nullsec coalitions. I do small
Mifune, put
gang
a
PvP.
delve map if you can. I don't know if you can, but try to figure out how to do that. But let's talk here. Let's talk. Does anyone in the room know how many Balops bridges it takes to get into period basis from 31.9?
2.
Takes about 2.
Two! Two to be in there and free reign, running around having a great time. How many bombers does it take to kill a super in a minute and a half?
50. 50 or less.
Oh, it's about
Usually
100.
no. You can do it with 50 with focus void bombs. Focus void bombs switch to electron after the first focus void. They can do it.
Please tell me how you have quote unquote super safe ratting down in period basis when you could not get a response fleet there in time to save them.
Yeah, you
Even
would
if
effectively have to have 2 super capital umbrellas if you want to rat in period basis and in delve.
not on top of Stain, which is where
Quirius.
your friends are, right next door to period basis and could just gate in anytime they want.
Yeah.
They do have supers out there, right? I have seen it myself. They're out there like shooting
Oh,
pokers,
Villy, please
structures,
tell
all sorts of
me
stuff.
if super umbrellas don't make it safe. Please tell me what makes ratting safe. Please, in your big boy brain, explain to me.
Hey, we're ignoring him. Let him.
I was nice. I
No,
said in
I
a
know.
nice way.
No, like
In my perspective, what makes ratting safe is either the presence of a very active defense fleet or just bigger and better targets. So probably the ESS at this moment. Like uh, why bother with some of the crappy things when you go for the ESS? I think Fraternity
true.
obviously does the best job at defending their space, but they have it in a very strange
That
system. I
is
can
so
only
easy.
well, they have jump bridges set up and they have very aggressive players. And not only do they have very aggressive players, but they have aggressive players who are flying the same bling ships we are, which is kind of scary for a mirror matchup.
The
I
thing
think
is go ahead. I'll let you finish.
I think well, from when I started playing Eve and when I started learning Small Gang, there were a lot of roams into Fraternity in their rental space, and we killed those players all the time. But here's the thing: every time they undocked, every time they would feed fleets after fleets of Dominixes and all sorts of wacky, inane things. But that's a thing. Every time they undocked and every time they lost, they would pick themselves back up, dust themselves off, and they'll start all over again. They'll learn, and at some point they started fighting back and winning because we forced them to evolve that quickly. We forced them to learn. And now I can't even roam VVV space because they're bloody aggressive. I have to be very careful.
Hey, Rich, the only problem with your analogy is why can't goons tackle them?
Maybe you're
We have to
flying the wrong
remember
ships.
we're starting from a point of goons cannot tackle. That's like the running joke, but it's pretty fucking true.
No,
Well, I
No,
mean,
it
no,
don't
you
they
really
have
can
is.
like
tackle
So
them.
I
You
don't,
you can tackle them, but
No, he's not
Rich.
saying
I
tackling
wish
them. He's saying in general.
I wish,
That's what we
Rich.
have like TNT and LAN and in it for though.
I wish
Yeah.
I could bring you into a Imperium fleet sometimes. I know I can't, but I wish I could one time just to show you when somebody like John Hartley says tackle, 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 and about 5 sabers bubble our own fucking fleet instead of hitting the approach button before hitting their bubble. And then
I would
the
love to.
subsequent yelling from John Hartley for not tackling correctly.
You know,
Funny.
while I cannot join your fleet, I'm more than welcome to invite you to our fleets and take you into fraternity space or somewhere else and show you what we do and how we fly. But obviously, I wouldn't be able to do the other way around with you without dropping my corp, which is
So,
unfortunate.
Rich, you're saying you can teach goons to tackle?
No, you don't have to drop your corp, Rich. Just have
No,
the
see what you
corp
do
join
is
goons, like,
you
easy.
yeah, right? Like you bring your corp over, man.
I don't see the
I'm
problem.
not sure because one of my corp members is
Blacklisted?
I refer to him as the Terror of Delve, the Scourge of Delve. His name is Kavegi.
No,
He's an incredible pilot.
kind of smashed back in, which was also the bane of my existence for almost 3 years. So it's kind of weird having him goons. He's a decent guy, and Israd are fantastic, and we love them. But knowing that Pet of Smash was going to be joining after I've literally had been chasing him around in his Loki like the week prior, that was kind of weird. But at
I'm
this
afraid I
point,
don't want the
anything
blues.
there's
If you're
not that
worried
many.
about blues, then just don't join Pappy. Like, they have the most blues out of everyone, so...
Yeah, we don't have to go but like 2 or 3 jumps out of our home space to run into stuff to fight anymore. It's pretty nice actually.
So now, the other thing that I wanted to bring up, because they said, oh, the harassment from goons would be manageable in Delve versus in Esoteria. Now, I will admit, I've never lived in ESO, so I don't know what it's like over there. So I'm going to only go off of my personal experience of Delve. One NPC Delve sucks.
Yeah. Like,
I-
you saw how easy it was to them just keep playing Keep Stars and eventually getting a foothold. Like, yeah, they lost, what, 4 Keep Stars? But, like, they also killed a bunch, so, like, if we did that to test, let's say they goons get kicked out, they take our Sov, kill all of our structures, and we go to NPC Delve. And then Pappy's like, okay, it's done, and Test is on their own. What is gonna stop us from just doing the exact same thing to them what they did to us? Like, slap down a Keep Star and NPC and just dick them with our supers.
So you're
How
telling
do you
me
go to NPC Delve with no supers? Bitch, we still have supers. I don't want to hear it.
I don't need a super to cause as much havoc as they have over the past 4
Yeah,
years.
you need a Dread or a Bomber, and that's it.
so I think it would be funny to see Pappy win and then they disband Pappy and Horde's like, okay, we're gonna go back to our separate ways, and like Frat's like, all right, we're gonna go our separate ways, and NC's like, I'm gonna go my separate way, and then it's just Test to look after Delve, and not even a week later Test is gonna be like, please someone save us.
I
Frat
just
has
don't
already
understand
said-
what their end game's gonna be on this because
No,
Okay,
their
let's-
end game is to get their end game. Their end game, and I'm gonna say this in quotes. Their end game is to make us all say "fuck Eve." Let's go play Dual Universe. That's their
Yeah,
overall
that-
goal, which is never gonna happen. But that's what they say their goal is. But
Once they blow up the last keep star, we're all going to be forced to,
Yeah,
remove
we're
our
all just gonna
friendships.
look, until they
log
blow
off.
up,
because
until they blow up Keep Star number 69, I will never quit this game.
well, here's something that I find funny. They don't actually want to fight us. Like everything that has been happening, and this is not like spinning, because if they wanted a fight, we would have fought in 49 TAC, other than like Asher had a tree fall on his house. But we
Which-
have other FSCs. But the fact that they are sino jamming the systems where our keep stars are, it's saying that you don't want to fight, you just want to blow up the keep star.
Yeah, and it shows with their fleet comps because they bring 5 fleets of like 800 people, and they're like, "Oh, why are you running away? Don't you want to fight?" A her da dur da dur da dur. But like, if they actually wanted to fight, they would bring equal numbers, but they don't. So they just want to steamroll and not have a fight. They want the easiest path to victory. That's what
They
they
feel
want.
good about it afterwards. That's the funny part.
Yeah, they'll jack each other off like, "Oh, look what we did to goons," and like, okay, you had like 3-1, 5-1, and you beat them. Congratulations. Like, what? You want a fucking award for outnumbering them and just crushing them? Like, no, fuck you.
Well, they're
Like,
not small gang PvPers. They're not seeking the honorable PvP route and
yeah,
Well,
making a
there is no
tactical
honor in
victory.
Eve. Honor in Eve is
Well,
bullshit. You can
I
eat my
try to keep
ass,
my
but
fleet numbers
continue.
small, and I try to match them because I'm there for the fight. I'm guessing they're there for something else. Oh, let's see. How's that?
Redline, we
Good
are
news.
not the biggest blobbers in the game. That would be Pappy. So please check your facts before you
Hype
coming in
Train?
here, sir.
People subscribed enough to Hype Train? What is this? I don't even know.
How's that? I'm gonna have to dunk you again. I have been vouched. Somebody was willing to vouch me into 4S, and somebody was willing to vouch me into Goonmoth. So, am I
Gonna go.
Goonswarm material? Well, they were clearly willing to vouch me in.
I mean,
you are
I
though.
don't
I
really
mean,
care. Like, we took the Requiem Eternal guy. He's pretty cool.
He's actually
he
really
was
cool.
he
I
was
love that.
Yeah.
actually he was actually supposed to come on tonight, but he could not make it due to time zone differences, because we love time zones. Universal time zone for the win, everybody. That's like my
Hey,
personal
You know,
preference.
I'll tell you
that
right.
girl
I'll
brought
tell
up
you
one
where
of the
Greg
greatest
is right now if you want. I'll
No,
tell you
Cauldron, you
exactly
can't,
what system he's
can't
in.
do that. That's against the rules. I don't need anybody yelling at me.
All right, so
Nope.
Necro. I like that subject. Necro is super cool. I mean, I don't understand what they did to this guy that jaded him so bad, because they must have rode him hard. Because he's
Let 'em blame
actually
him.
a cool
He's a
dude.
decent, well-adjusted human being, unlike the coalition he came from.
But and one of the things that still floors me is like he came over and we didn't know who he was, and he hops in our gate camp, and all of a sudden someone points out, yeah, he's in channel, and he's just been chatting along, and he has just flat out said, "You guys don't have morale issues. Like you guys are having fun."
Yeah, we asked him like what was the biggest shock he had when he came here, and he's like, "You guys are still like willing to fight even after everything." I'm like, "Yeah, it kind of happens when you don't really have anything left to lose."
Let's see. That was what we were going to talk about, and I kind of hope we can save that for like. I want to bring him on a different show, like after he's had some time to like see what goons are like. But yeah, and to be fair, Imperium is not for everybody. Like, not everybody can deal with, an overlord, as Rich likes to put it. Not everybody likes having strict rules. Some people like having those strict rules to kind of guide them on what to do. It helps them out. But if it's not your game, that's fine. We'll just shoot you instead, and that's cool. That's what the game's about: is shooting each other. If people came to just like, hey, we want to have a war and fight it out, okay, that's fine. It's kind of like the shitty motivations behind it it's just so rude. Like,
If you're wanting those kind of fair fights, go to wormhole space because then it's mass limited.
Rich, didn't you guys have a wormhole fight pretty recently?
Yes. I'm very glad that Black Flag wanted to bring some frigates to engage us. We had a lot of fun, and
Did
we
you
had
fight
a lot of
for
messages.
you, or how did that go?
Hmm?
How did it go?
Oh, it went splendidly, and then we went and robbed an ESS.
Do you guys normally like roll your hole to go to your ESS stuff, or do you filament around and then go back later, or how do you guys normally
Yes,
do it?
we can do anything. We can roam out of Jita, we can roam through Thera, we can use filaments, we can go through our wormhole, we can go through somebody else's wormhole. The world is our oyster when it comes to wormholes.
Yeah,
So
Do
in
you ever
my just in my personal preference, I hate living in wormhole space. I like wormhole travel for like if I take a bomber fleet from Delve and end up in Caldeva Expanse in like 3 jumps, I'm happy. But the whole living in wormhole stuff, I tried it for a few months. I tried it as a corp experiment back in one of my old corps. I tried it as an experiment with Pathfinders, and I was like, this isn't for me. I can't live in wormhole space. I don't know why. It's just a concept that I don't like at all in the slightest.
It's a big gamble. You could have anything. You could have Jita in 2 jumps and content in the home hole system, or you could be completely shafted and get terrible holes. where you end up in godforsaken wastelands like the Spire.
Or let
Like
me
Great
gas
and
mine
Stain.
let me gas mine in my venture and some random wormhole rats come up and kill me before I can even hit the warp button.
Oh
I'm gonna
no, I
like
don't do that.
Get out
hold
before
on.
the 15 minutes is
Yeah.
up.
Shut up. Hold on. Can chat? I'm gonna say this once. You all have to be nice-ish. You can talk to each other, but like, I don't want to have to start telling Mifune to start
Yeah,
muting.
I literally
Okay.
cannot, and I know this isn't gonna help that much, but I am literally pulling the chat up on my phone right now because the OBS has literally, I literally have so many sources running for this stream that it's taking up 90% of my CPU power, which is why we had problems at the
Oh God,
beginning.
we're gonna fix that later.
Like,
Anyway,
no. What it's gonna have to be is I'm going to pull up the stream and another PC to moderate y'all, and I really don't want to have to bust out my
say,
laptop
like,
for
we
that.
want to make sure that everyone's having fun. We want to have fun on the show. I don't care if you
The
guys.
Twitch chat right now is just absolute chaos, and I love it.
It's great, but you guys can chit talk as much as you want. Just like I don't want like people to say stuff you shouldn't say or like get to that point that's like ridiculous. So have fun, but like be aware I will go mom voice on everybody. And that's kind of like my fucking job in Theta is like to keep people under wraps and control.
Look, Dawn gets mean in Theta. Dawn can get real mean in Theta.
Yeah, you can Zorchain if you want. That's fine. What was the? Oh, we were still talking about how wrong the soda. So basically, Piggles and Billy were saying that Delve is super easy to take care of. Which, like, I guess if you have the numbers, like, you can deal with most things that come out. But like, it is gonna be fucking torture. Like, if you guys actually do manage to get us to leave Delve, you have a lot of people who have always wanted to hunt in Delve ready to kill anything moving. And we don't have to go very far. We're already here. It's not like we gotta move ships from fucking Declan down. Like, all we do is just like move ships over.
So
Hi, Azrael.
Hi, Azrael. I think one of the fun things about, I'm going to say this, back during our platinum age of Delve, Dawn, how many, I would say we lost maybe, what, one super and a couple carriers a day that were ratting that got killed by either Omeka or Bomber's Bard or like God knows how many VNIs and Myrmidons that were killed by solo players like on the daily. Now imagine
just started losing money
And
now.
we easily lost 2 supers, not including roracles and carriers, every single day.
Yeah, like imagine what will happen because that's like with what? That's 2 groups of like 100 people that would do that every weekend in Delve during our platinum age. Just imagine if the
It
whole
was
Goon
like
Swarm.
fucking clockwork.
Yeah, imagine if Goon Swarm was the ones doing that to anybody who lived in Delve. I mean, it would be fleet after fleet after fleet just leaving out of NPC Delve, getting on the blobs, and 2 seconds later killing like over 100 billion worth of carriers. I mean,
Guess who's friends with Blood Gang already? Big Bill the boss. Actually, a lot of people are. That's another thing.
So I think there's been a huge misconception on the goons and when they deploy. Like the rest of Eve sees us deploy and we bring toys, but really the toys we bring are just like surplus toys that we're wanting to just get rid of or use it or lose it kind of thing.
We're super. Like, okay, guys, you
Oh,
killed
bloody
one.
hell, you're saying you're using subpar equipment. I don't send subpar equipment when I raid at ESS.
No, it's
I
not
don't-
subpar. It's just we have so many. Like I have 2 titans, a super, like at least 10 dreads. You know, that's just me. Like that's one person. That's not even like Kuni. How many does he have now?
He has 13 titans.
Doesn't he
No,
have
9.
one avatar for every skin that exists?
He has one avatar for every skin he likes, and then he's
Oh.
got Levy, I think.
I saw a screenshot of Kunmi's one of Kunmi's screens where he's got his like his Evo preview where you can see all the little miniature screens on one monitor. And holy shit, I thought it was just like a fleet, like a capital fleet.
Oh yeah,
Somebody just
Kumi-
mashed all the pictures together.
Rich, what do you want to know about
be
Kumi?
reckoned with.
I know you want to talk to him.
Oh, that's. I think I'm satisfied with
Did you
everything I
exhaust
know.
all those questions? This is the place to ask. We all know Kumi. And Kumi's one of my favorite people in the Imperium.
Kunmi doesn't
So
like me in the
I
slightest.
know. Yeah, you know what? That's because you talk a lot, and I'm working on it. Don't worry, Mifune, I'll get it. I am very endearing, one way or the other. You either love me or you hate me, or you at least tolerate me. One of the three. So
There's one thing with Kumi that's like I can't tell if he's mad or happy ever. It's always that super cool, I'm just gonna kill you when you sleep voice.
I can tell. I can tell
I,
when Kunmi is happy because when Kunmi's happy, he kind of has like a breathier voice to him. Like he kind of has that little chuckle behind his voice that you can hear when he's happy, and then and then otherwise it's just that straight monotone.
yeah, Kumi's usually really chill, but it's really fun to hear him get like excited. First, you gotta get him a little drunk though, because that's really when he relaxes. Him and Jay both just like chill out the second they're drunk, and then like shit happens, and it's pretty fucking funny. But like when you take away the necessity, like that's the thing is I'm kind of scared for Papillon. You take away the necessity to defend anything and give certain people in Goonswarm the free reign to attack, things get interesting very quickly.
I actually had a friend that just follows Eve, and the way he described goons was weaponized autism.
Oh, that is so true.
Hey, Mad Cow, can I get an official apology from Israd for causing me stress and discomfort for 2.5, 3 years? I'll take just a letter. That would be great. Anyway, what was it? Oh, the other thing, and I shared this with everybody after I got it. Billy said, and I quote, "Mission running is a huge benefit to Dell." So I looked it up before I'm, spouting nonsense here. There are four security agents of level 4 in Delve. You can't blaze that unless you have a shit ton of alts. You know how many
Have
people?
you done burner missions?
Burner missions? No, but I run
Level 4
missions.
burner missions.
No, but I don't like that's because like I didn't really want to get into that.
Oh, I'm blue to Garistas. It's good money.
Yeah, but there's
I'm not
also
sure how
12
it is
agents in Garista space. There are 4 in Blood Raiders.
Mm, 4 in Blood Raiders.
I
It's
looked it
manageable.
up.
It's
I
manageable.
literally looked it up. Okay, like I checked before coming on the show to make sure I wasn't like crazy. There are 4, and the person there's 2 people I know of that do it, and the person I asked that does it, he's like, there are 4 of us total that run this
Well,
and get
yeah,
amulets.
and I only
Not even
know
good
of
money.
one person who like actually has good raider standing that can do it, which is uh what the fuck is
One
his name?
blue. One blue
Fucking
does it, and Big Bill the boss
yeah,
does
Big
it.
Bill the boss. Yeah, he's like Big Bill's the boss, the only one who I like knew that does it, and like he doesn't he doesn't enjoy it. Like it's not good isk.
I'd
Hey,
say
why
it's an
don't you
income
come on
stream. I
the
mean,
show?
the
I see
rewards
you
have
in
to come from somewhere.
Yeah, but like there are 4 people, like 5 people total in Goonswarm that run these things because they're not good money.
Sounds like they have a monopoly going on that tiny little niche.
I don't
I
know.
mean, like it's the fact that most of the coalition has also been killing Blood Raiders for 2 or 3 years before they put the amulets in there. Most of us couldn't run them anyways because it would take so long to repair your standing
I was
with
just gonna
Blood Raiders.
say. I was just gonna say, Mifune the character has a -10 standing with Blood Raiders. Oh Magnum the cameraman for INN has -10 standing with Blood Raiders. I think my high sec alt has like a -5 standing with Blood Raiders because he was killing some Blood Raiders, shipping some stuff down to Delve earlier this year. I mean, all of my characters just have negative fucking standings.
We're just
I
making
think,
passive stuff.
you know what? I think, well, if you are unable to hold Delve and you do have to move elsewhere, you won't have to deal with the fact that you have bad standings with Blood Raiders. If you move to somewhere else that does have missions, you're hopefully going to be reset, and hopefully you'll be able
Well,
to
here's the fun
have that
thing:
as a
is that
income.
I'm not going anywhere. I mean, Delve has been my home for how many years now? 4 or 5 years that I've lived in Delve. I mean, I doubt me and many other goons, I'm sure, will not move anywhere.
We'll move our money
Well,
alt.
yeah, we'll move our money alts places. Like, you know, I think I have one mission running alt that will probably move over to drone space or something. But like not like Mifune, he's staying in Delph. Unless the alliance goes, "Hey, we're moving to fucking Esoteria or whatever." I'm not moving.
Oh, honestly, I do like Sancho Rats much more because they do nothing.
Look, Mifune also has -10 with Sancha because of my time living in Provi Block. No, because of my time living in Provi Block. I have a lot of -10 standings with the pirate factions.
Well, another thing that's not being accounted for is the reason why they don't have a monopoly on the amulets coming out of the Blood Raider missions is because the amulets drop from the actual faction blood rots that we actually are killing. So there's so many people ratting in Delve, they kind of
money
negate.
That's the thing is like amulets have like already always been dropping from the Blood Raider Titans and the Blood Raider Dreadnoughts that drop in Delve.
No, they drop on
So
battleships now. The actual
do
like,
they?
yeah, I've
Okay.
gotten almost a full set off of the Blood Raider Apostles, the Dark Blood Apostles.
So good luck with that Blood Raider mission running. Have fun with that. Just fuck that shit. So like it's just like listening to that, like listening to the soda was just like so ridiculous, and it's one of those things where you're like wanting to like get somebody to understand what they're talking about, but they don't. So you're just like, fuck it, just take it. All right, just take it. Figure it out on your own at this point. Just do it. It's like trying to tell a child to burner.
I haven't heard the rest of this, Soto. What other motivations did they have for wanting Delve?
The only motivation that's valid is they just want to kick us out because, like, haha, you can. All right, whatever. Like, sure.
Because they're angry at us because we are good at Eve, and there have been many of Imperium members that have won I say that in quotes because everyone has a different definition of it, of winning Eve Online. And they're angry that they don't have that same opportunity as we do. And so what they want to do is they want to evict us completely from the game so that they can have this perfect utopia where everybody has quote unquote equal opportunity to win EVE Online.
Okay, so the actual reality is they know they're screwed and that they could defend better in Delve than they can in Esoteria, which may be true. I don't know Esoteria enough to like comment on that, so I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt here. Delve is probably easier to defend if you're only got fighting one group, right? And they have just broken the pact with Goonswarm, who have vowed vengeance, right? And then Pappy and them, not Pappy, PanFam, just the PanFam side, right? They're gonna shoot. They gotta shoot Test at some point because shooting goons gets boring after a while. Only NC Dot has got this fucking hate boner because we destroyed, Goonswarm destroyed their alliance 10 years ago. So they want to put themselves in a position where they can try to defend better, and they think that moving to Delve is better than Esoteria, even though like it does not make any sense to uproot all of your buildings and set up logistics to try and set up in a new region at the same time as when the cores are coming in here in the next few months, and they think that we're going to be like licking our wounds for very long. I mean, I don't know. I mean, unless we have a really bad capital fight, like they have to kill our capital fleet to have any chance of taking Dell. Like they have to. Because even if you move them all to asset safety, I can afford to get my ships out if I have to. Plenty of people can afford it.
Well, Don, they have to actually want to fight our capital fleet. They
Well,
gotta stop. They gotta stop
Well,
jamming the systems.
Here, what their problem is, what the whole thing is, I don't want to say it's a stalemate, but from a capital perspective, all it takes is one capital battle with this war, and it will totally turn the tides on either side's favor.
And
And
our
that's
capital
what
is
that's what
bigger.
both sides that's what for and I'm gonna say this as a middle that both the Imperium and Pappy, both of them together, are kind of trying to keep that stalemate for as long as possible, because when that day of I guess I'll call it
Reckoning?
Judgment Day, day of reckoning, day of judgment, whatever, when that day eventually comes where we are all fighting for 14 hours like KVN or whatever, not KVN, fucking whatever system, whenever we're fighting for 2 days
next
straight, yeah, right, whenever we're fighting for 2 days straight, and those 2 days straight is nothing but supers, titans, dreads, all of the good shit, right? When that day eventually does come, whoever comes up on that battle is going to come up on the whole war. And it's very hard to secure that victory on either side, because when that battle starts, there's no telling who's going to come out on top. If both sides 100% commit during a random day, a random battle, and both sides just 100% commit every last fucking bit of ISK that we have, there's no telling who's going to win.
Well, our super fleet's bigger, but detail.
But, real quick, I gotta step out. Thanks for
Okay.
having me on the show. I
Thank you for
appreciate it.
coming. Appreciate it.
Rich, it was cool hearing from you, and we'll see you guys
Oh.
next week.
Take care.
We're gonna switch a little bit, because while I love calling Billy, not smart, he called me dumb on Tuesday. I can't believe you guys let that happen. I was very upset. Why did you not fight for my honor, Rich?
I don't get paid enough. God damn it.
Oh, I'm sorry. So we're gonna switch gears just a little bit. The MER came out today, as well as the partner program came out today. And God, there was one other thing. Oh, and the torpedo thing came out yesterday?
Yep.
Yeah.
There's all these different things. No, I don't have an OnlyFans, and I never will. No.
I think Brisk might be hitting something. He's betting that there's not going to be a big Titan fight.
That's been, and I know you want to switch gears, so I'll touch on this last, but that's kind of been my assumption for the past couple weeks, is that there is not gonna, in reality, no spin here. There's gonna be no huge Titan fight like that, like ever. Goons aren't gonna get annihilated from Delve. That's all just narrative bullshit. What's gonna happen is Pappy's gonna knock out the iHubs. They're gonna knock a few Citadels around, and they're gonna say, okay, we took 1DQ. We killed the 1DQ iHub. We took all the TCUs. Time to go home back to Esoteria. And then we'll just take it all back 2 days later, and that'll be that. And
Yeah.
2 days later, we'll move in on Esoteria and actually evict them from Esoteria. But,
Okay, switching gears.
Yeah.
Only because we have only, I don't know how much longer Rich will be here, and I want to take advantage of his insight on what we've seen on this. The MER, I'm not very good with numbers, like stuff like that. Like, I'll look at a thing and be like, "Hey, that looks great," and then find out like, "Oh no, this means terrible." Like, oh, okay. We saw, obviously, ratting is super high in one specific area, and ratting is
Frats are all
low.
bots.
Yeah,
Anyways,
exactly.
continue.
And then we saw ratting lower in other areas. The mining shift has been interesting. Guess where the highest amount of mining is right now? Can anyone guess? Anybody?
I don't know.
Chat?
I
Anybody?
haven't looked at the monthly economic report, so
I believe
holy
it
crap.
starts with a H and ends with a C.
Yeah. Rich, you want to guess?
I'm afraid I don't do mining.
Ding,
Well,
ding,
for
ding,
those of
ding.
you-
Brisk has it first.
Yeah, for those of you who don't mine, it's high sec.
High sec mining has gone through the roof comparatively.
because of Tret and wanting
The-
to mine Tret.
So, Angry Mustache, ripping with him. did a great post analysis today, and he showed that the top 15 regions with mining are in HISEC -2, one in Owasso and one in Paragon Falls. So 13 of the top 15 are HISEC regions have the highest mining in the game. That's ridiculous. Rich, when you guys were out running around with your small gang, do you guys ever go for miners, or do you just try to find the PvP people to fight?
Yeah, we killed a TD Sin Rockall yesterday.
Exactly. Now, with these mining changes, are you seeing less miners in space, or have you not really paid attention to any difference?
There are a lot less miners. Well, there's a lot less Rorquals out, but I still tackle skiffs. I still tackle coveters. Some of them are in regular mining anomalies, but other times they're on moons. Rorquals and ice fields. I have yet to deal with one of those yet. Then again, given the amount of mining in the regions, there's only a handful of regions that mining does occur, and it's a gamble, and a lot of the times we might not up in those systems. So the odds of us killing a miner, it's quite low, and it's not fun and engaging for me. It's just another kill. I prefer the challenge of killing another player rather than a miner. I'll still kill the miner though.
Right, and honestly, that like usually killing miners is a young babby's PvP pilot's first thing to really catch. But, you find that miner that's just not quite paying attention or whatever. Maybe you tackle it with a heck 8 and you blap through him before he can get you with his drones or something like that. Or like it's your first roam as an FC. You're like, okay, I'm going to take 20 people out, maybe 30. If I got 30, I've got, a bunch of T1 thrashers. We're going to go find whatever we can find to kill. And a lot of times, maybe a mining ship is the first thing you find, and it gives you that confidence. There's no.
And hold on one second. My PC wants to take
There's
10
no
Anyway,
mining.
years.
so that was a
Skiffs are
healthy
scary.
profit for him.
My PC wants to take 10 years again
Yeah,
and
like
cut out everyone's
skiffs are
audio.
scary if you're not in the right, group.
Oh boy.
Skiffs, unless we had a certain number of people with us. What, did you break it?
My PC is once again breaking.
Or
I
you fucking
swear.
Isaac?
Stream's still going.
No, I'm
Go
not.
Okay,
ahead.
well,
The
just don't
stream
touch
is still
anything.
going. I'm trying not to, damn it. I can't help it that my i7 with like 35 different sources on OBS wants to kill itself.
Well, detail. To be moon mining. And so I guess moon prices, from what people are saying, are dropping because that's the only thing people are pumping on nullsec now, and people are hyper focused on that. What was the other thing about the MER? Oh, production's still very high in Delve. We made a shit ton of stuff last month, which was great. But production across Pappy is like, it's hard combining all those regions. And you know what? That was some bullshit. Okay, let me bring this in here because the MER shows it. You want to know how many regions Goons officially owned before the war? 4. 4 regions we owned, right? You want to know how many Test owned or Legacy? Anybody
Is
guess?
this just Legacy or is this Legacy and
Just-
Fireco?
We'll do Legacy and Fireco because I consider them all the same group. How many regions? Anybody guess? Chat, guess how many regions did Legacy own?
I'm gonna guess 2.
14. How many regions did PanFam own? And that does include Frat because they're part of PandaFam right now. How many regions did PandaFam own before the war started? 16. And yet
Wow.
we're the dirty blobbers.
Yeah, and
Wait,
also
didn't-
PandaFam also broke the Pappy agreement, and the reason why AOM pulled out of the war is because Frat, they were cloaky camping AOM space, and then when the war happened, they made agreement like they wouldn't anymore. So all the people who were cloaky camping just dropped from fraternity and joined another corp and kept doing the same thing. And fraternity also what the fuck was it? Oh yeah, there was also supposed to be a moratorium on taking space besides, Imperium space. The fraternity ignored that and went on to do their own thing. And are they taking what
No,
region are they
they're not
taking now?
doing anything
Veil
right
the
now.
Silent.
Vale's
Yeah,
a
they're
different
taking
direction, though.
Veil the Silent.
But that wasn't owned by anyone. A Pappy official that was owned by
I
our
know,
dear
but there's a
friends in Freight Train
moratorium. There was supposed to
Diplomacy.
be a moratorium on doing that.
Well, yeah,
At least what I heard.
yeah, well, Norris doesn't do anything honorable anyways. He's a lion snake
Well, yeah,
who
because the
has,
entire alliance is bot-ston. Like, I
yeah,
mean,
like, he owes, like, Elo so much money for keeping his fucking alliance alive while he was AFK, and he's never gonna pay that back. He's a
I
useless
think
snake.
I think as for Veil, Noras had a Noras had a just cause for some of the things he did in Veil because the group that in Veil Forsaken Empire pissed Noros off a lot. They pissed him off to the point Noros actually, well, descended from his throne and from what I've read, personally led the destruction and ordered it
I saw that earlier too.
on Lord Servant because he just pissed the guy off so much. It's unfortunate what's happened to Vale as a result of it, and I don't know what's
You
going to
know,
happen next.
we went in there and cleared out the space of the dirty block and left it fallow for these wonderful groups such as your size or bigger or smaller to come in and have their fun. And it was growing. Trigger Happy was up there, this Freight Train Diplomacy's up there, and a couple other groups were all having
I
their
hate to
fun
say
duking
it,
it
but
out.
pine cones.
Yeah. Like they all were having their fun, and then of course, Big Block comes in and fucks it up. Like we did the good thing. We got rid of a block and then we left. We didn't want it. So we
Yeah,
left
no.
it alone. And then we owned 4 regions at most at one time. And yet we're the dirty blobbers? Fuck y'all. Like that's not even
Oh no,
close.
no. But here's the thing, Don.
So that's
You
what I'm
gotta
saying, Rich.
you gotta
Like,
realize
you gotta see it.
out of those like 11 regions or so that Panda Fam owned,
They used
how
like
many
3.
how many fucking regions do you think they actually occupied? It was only like
They occupy Kavala. I don't know all the drone regions, but then Cobalt Edge, Oasa, Paragon Falls.
Oh, hang on. There was a. You finish, but I want to answer something in chat.
Can't remember. But basically, the whole like northeast corner is just them, and there's no NPC space. They don't have some crazy man camping them for 3 years. Like, like they have it so fucking easy up there, and
What?
we've had to deal with bullshit for 4 years.
Well,
So,
prior to the war, 34 out of 41 regions belonged to 3 coalitions. 34.
And we owned 4 of
There's
those. So who's the dirty blobber?
7.
No.
Imperium
No.
7, Legacy
No.
14,
no,
Panda
we
Fam
never owned
13.
7. If you're counting Cloud Ring and
We
all
didn't
that up
own that.
there, we didn't own it. We just had jump bridges so we could get to
We-
Cheetah faster and
yeah.
fuck MC in the ass easier.
We made deals with the locals. If they didn't shoot our stuff, we would let them live and happy go lucky. They could use our buildings, they could use our stuff. We made relationships with French Connection and the other groups living in the region. We did not own Cloud Ring.
Is that
We
not
just
bluing
used it.
them? Is that not including them?
No, they were not.
weren't.
they weren't actually.
They weren't
That's
blue.
moving the
No,
goalpost.
they were not blue. They were neutrals
They
who
were-
could
yeah.
dock. They had their own stuff. We
Neutrals.
just said, yeah, they were neutrals who could dock. We just made it so that way they could still use the stuff but not cause problems. But if we flew through the space, they could shoot us. We could shoot them. They just weren't going to shoot our building.
Yeah.
That's all we asked them
It's
to do.
basically not
we did with
quite the
Tess.
same agreement with Tess. Like, don't shoot our shit and we won't shoot your shit, but we can shoot each other. It was like that, but with jump bridges.
So neutrals that could
So-
dock and use your stuff, use their stuff, etc. And if somebody tried to invade them and take away those things that were there,
They're
you
our
would
buildings,
presumably
so-
Well, our
potentially
buildings are
protect them.
there. We would defend our
So
buildings.
blues,
Hi,
blues
Briz.
by any other name.
No.
Hi guys.
Hi.
Howdy, howdy.
I'm done playing PUBG, so I thought I'd come hang out for a little
Anyway,
bit.
cool.
I
Oh,
wanted
hello,
to
Briz.
answer a question
Okay,
in
what's
chat.
in chat?
Someone's like, so why is Goons charging 50 mil to cycle Sino Jammers? And that is exactly my thing. It falls under my purview. The reason we charge 50 mil to cycle jammers is because it costs about that much in fuel to cycle the jammer. So, like, you take a jump gate, you pay a fee for the fuel. You create a clone somewhere or do something, you pay a fee. It's like that, but just with cycling jammers.
Is it also
So
not
they,
designed to make sure that people don't just randomly ask for it every
yeah,
5 minutes?
I know. It's so just not every random shitter comes in. Can you turn off all of them for an hour? I need to move my stuff.
I need to move my Merkle, even though I'm not supposed to use it. Thank
Oh
you.
God,
Like,
people using Rockwells.
oh, Twitches.
Sikander is not allowed to go anywhere, just by the way. He has to stay.
Who?
Sikander says that I'm here so he can leave. No, it's not allowed. You have to stay.
Oh,
Brisk, have you experienced the new ESS changes? Have you been on any fleets that messed with the ESSs?
Nah, I haven't had a chance to go out.
you're missing out. That's all I gotta say.
I've been
It's good fun.
watching. I've
It's
been hearing
fun.
stuff. You guys seem to be having a good time with it, which is
Oh
nice.
yeah, we killed a brave golem who came in and committed to the grid. I was so new to the point I was tapping my F2 key to get the last lasers off, and we killed him. And he went out with a blaze of glory. He was happy. We were happy. We had a good fight. And then apparently got screamed out on Brave comms.
Did he kill anybody?
For
Because if he didn't kill anybody, then I would be upset.
I don't know how you.
well,
PvP
we did feed
golem.
like a 4 billion 4 billion legion because the guy warped to the place at 0 when we told him not to. But we fed some, we got some. It was a even trade. It was a
So
lot of
how
fun.
many more ESSs are you going to have to take to pay for that 4 bill legion?
But that's not the
Oh.
point, Brisk.
Oh,
Well,
I'm
like-
sorry. It's not. I
It's
keep
about the
forgetting.
none.
PvP.
It's not about the
Brisk.
money. All
Brisk, none. We've already we killed enough that day to cover the legion. Loss,
Honestly,
don't worry.
that's how I'm seeing it. Because like the money in the VSSs are like great, K thanks, but like a lot of them are like 30 mil, 40 mil, 50
That's
mil, 100
that's
mil.
what I'm
Oh, you
trying to
suck.
figure
There's,
out.
there's
At
like
what
200
point?
mil
Yeah,
ESSs
okay,
you
we
could be
find
going
those.
after.
Yeah, we find
But
those
that's
too.
the
But like
thing.
sometimes that just
At
don't work
what
out.
point
When you
do
fill them in
people
with a
realize
needle jack into fucking in the middle
it's
of
not worth it?
Tenerife with nothing, like what are you
Well,
gonna do?
we went into branch, and I'll tell you what, we went into branch, we went into an ESS, and it was like, oh yeah, there's 100-something million here. That's great. You know what was inside? A cloaked up nightmare, Bargas, and a goddamn rogue. Unfortunately, they couldn't kill any of my guys before we boated out. But guess who walked to the ESS at 0 and got themselves killed?
You?
You did.
2 bill nightmare. The
Oh.
2 bill nightmare was an even bigger payout than the ESS. Like, why? The ESS is just, kitty, it's a bonus. What you should be going after are the people going for the ESS or the people defending the ESS. Because, some people see the ESS, they think, oh no, they're stealing my money. I think to myself when I see an ESS, hey, that's an opportunity for me to kill someone and take their stuff.
Yeah, honestly, that's all these have been is just like fun little like Thunderdomes. But Frat warp supers into them. I'm like, God, I
Well,
wish I had some
that's
dreadnoughts right now.
this.
I
This is
really
the
wish I
thing.
had some dreadnoughts.
But this is that's the problem. You're not going to have any because you can't stage them anywhere because Owaza has no NPCs.
You know what?
But
It just takes some commitment. We're just busy right now.
there is zero chance that we're going to commit to somebody putting
Exactly.
a fort down in Owaza that's not going to die in 3 days to Dread Bomb Meadow. But anyway, the whole thing is I'm happy that you guys are having fun with the ESS. Obviously, this was designed for a small gang playstyle. That seems to be what people are doing with it. That's not my play style, really. So it's not something that interests me, but I'm glad you guys are having fun. I just don't know how long people are going to defend them if they're not worth anything.
Oh,
Well, I mean, they're
they
not
are going
worth
to be worth
anything.
something soon because of the reserve bank, and hopefully the reserve bank keys come out. There's
Some of them in
reserve
Owaza are
banks
like
worth
2 bill.
billions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Some of
but
them in
you're never
Owaza are
gonna,
like 2 billion.
but you're never going to get them out. That's the thing.
Why? How
You
not?
what?
Okay, Bristine. Okay, so
How
we figured
the reason
no,
why
here,
the
here,
Owaza ones are so high is because nobody can get in and out of that space
Yes,
easily.
no, Brisk.
This is the
Brisk.
bullshit. You ready?
Okay, here's the best mechanic. Guess what? You steal from the SS, you warp to a neutral structure, right-click cargo deposit, asset safety. You get your money in about 3 weeks. You can steal everything and never be in danger. Because
I know.
CCP
Brisk,
kept that
wormholes.
mechanic in the game.
I know.
Brisk, wormholes, insta-warp scepters,
can-
travel scepters.
You can fill them in.
But
in
where
the
are you going to
site
base out of
because
then?
it doesn't
I mean, you're going to just fill them
have
out and
a
hope that
timer.
you get a
You
good
can
system
literally
and then
fill
go
them
from there.
in there. Yeah.
Look,
But honestly,
Yeah,
we
the
just
Thera.
warp to a structure.
the problem is in Owaza, they can throw around whatever they want to stop you from getting out. They can drop 10 supers on a gate, every gate, if they want to, because they know that they can do that with impunity because nobody can stop them.
Well, that is very true.
That's
We
part
have
of the
definitely made
problem.
off with over $1 billion. We have made $1 billion-esque off of them, so in
Well,
one
good.
night.
Keep it
So
I
up.
don't know,
it is
Brisk.
definitely.
Keep it up.
I
They're
know,
not very
Brisk. I just
smart.
save log and I'll go watch. I'll just go watch a movie. I'll catch up on some.
Well,
motion
and now
pictures
that's
or
something
something.
that's bullshit. Is
Yeah,
Oh, no.
did you
I feel
know
like
that? Like, no one realized that. You can save
there
log
needs
in
to
the
be.
site.
That's the thing. You shouldn't be able to. Being in the site should give you some kind of a log off timer. There's just no reason why you should be allowed to do that stuff and not have any kind of timer.
It is. It's so weird. It is so weird.
Well,
But anyway,
there's some other stuff that's really messed up about it too.
what else? Tell me. We had a
are
long
you ready
meeting
for the
today
reserve
talking about
banks?
ESS
Because
stuff. I'd love
the
to talk
reserve
about
banks
more.
are going to be
I'm
proper
ready for the
like
reserve.
heists. These are going to be billion,
Yeah.
10 billion, however many billion isk heists with the keys. They're not going to
Billion.
be a 5-minute heist. It's going to be a 50-minute heist. You're going to have groups commit to this and brawl it out. I'm so glad to see it. I'm happy
Rich-
to hear that Inner Hell has returned.
But is
Rich,
anybody
that's
going to
not
do
even
that?
true because like the Alliance is just going to take it. Why are we going to let it sit
Oh,
there?
it depends
That's what
on
I
how the keys
honestly
are
what I expect
available.
is going to happen. Is
It
that
Yeah, the
depends
keys
on
are-
the
how
alliances that control the stuff are going to go take it.
Well, they're
Ahead
going
of-
to go take it, but what if somebody else tries to take it first? Like, when do you say, okay, that's the right amount, we're going to take it, before somebody says, you know what, we'll take it before they can take it? It's all a challenge, and who's going to challenge you on taking it? It's
If
content
it's your
generation.
space and it's more than $1 billion isk, you're going to be told go get it.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
what if the keys are
Somebody's
rare enough
poor
that you-
logistics guys are going to have to go in and take all that stuff.
I
Well,
mean,
I sure hope
the
they're
thing
protected.
is though, during my stream with CCP, like I asked him, like, is this gonna be an event thing? Because they said keys available during gameplay content. So, and like obviously they're gonna let these ESSs build up. I think they're gonna be event keys that are gonna come from sites like in LowSec and NullSec that you have to find and kill and get the thing, just like you did for the original Nirvana sets. And then, like maybe alliances are gonna put money out to buy those keys, but I can imagine a lot of people are not going to want to sell them to go get the bigger bounty. And it'll be interesting because I don't think the keys are going to be that available. So I'm
We'll
all
see.
for that.
I
Now-
think John's right because it's going to be like some grand heist that you're going to end up with, where these might end up accumulating to something along the lines of maybe 100 bill, like from Oasa.
You know, I'm expecting.
I don't know.
I'm not expecting a small gang to be able to heist the reserve bank so easily. I'm expecting a proper fleet. I'm expecting 100v100 or 50v50 or God forbid 200v200. Just pre-tie-dye fights.
God forbid
Yeah.
200. Are you talking
fleet?
250 and 250?
Guys,
Let's do it.
all right. So if it's beyond a small gang fight, and you're talking about big fleets, then all of the normal big fleet issues come into play there. And the number one thing is, why would we do this when it's going to cost us more to do it than we're going to get out of it?
Because
it has
you could
no
kill
strategic
For
more.
the
impact.
fun.
But the chances
the
are,
fun.
if you don't, but that's the thing. How many times does an FC take a fleet out just for the fun of it?
I'm afraid I
In
won't.
a
have
big,
all the-
like a big 100-person
Yeah.
plus fight, you're there because
I'm
you have a target. You want to go do something fun,
Yeah.
and if you lose the fleet and you didn't get the target, people are going to be mad.
Brisk,
I don't
that's what you
think
call
it's going to be the incentive to do
It
the big
depends
fleet
on how
fights.
you
I think it's
handle
going to get
fleet.
gamed.
Brisk. That's what you call a
If I can
peacetime
convince
fleet.
200 If I
I
can
mean,
convince
maybe,
250
but,
mutants
hey,
to go into
you
an
know.
ESS and fight it over, where no one can warp around and just like avoid you, that would be the best.
Who's going to
fight.
take that fight,
Imagine
though?
that.
Who's going to
Well,
take that
Frat's
fight?
dumb enough to take the fight. They warp supers into these things. But the best part is like, A, you can't get dropped on. B, you can also just leave. But C, you can't warp around grid to like fight these people. Like you
You can
have to
get
brawl.
dropped on the other side. You got to
Who
get
cares
out.
about the gate? Cares
You
about
got
the
to get
gate? Like,
out. You
gate
got to
games
get
are
the
so
fleet out.
easy.
No, you
You
don't.
got to get
No,
the
you don't.
fleet out.
No, you don't.
Okay.
Just
Have you
Okay.
ever been
You
on the
guys are
conflict
saying
grid?
that you're willing to whelp a 100-man mutant fleet to get a 10 billion isk bounty?
You don't have to whelp
Come
it.
on.
You
Well, how
stay
do you
in
get
the
it out then?
site and you film it back out.
You can only fill them in 25
You
groups.
can't.
How are
You
you
can only
going to do
film at
that with a
25
100-person
people.
fleet?
But if you have a wormhole there, you can do that with a wormhole. Or
like a
it's
wormhole.
actually really
You
not
got
that hard to like with 100 people, you can burn through it. Like, I mean, dear God, Brisk, you saw it. They had what supers and like 3 fleets on a gate, and it was just Asher's fleet. And we got almost every Eagle. It was either an Eagle fleet or a Munin fleet. We got almost everybody out. I think we lost 3 people on a gate that was being camped by 500 people because we starbursted and they can't tackle for shit. So, like, yes, 100-man Munin fleet can get through a gate, and you'll lose a couple, but you're not going to lose the whole fleet unless you like smart bomb. It is possible. Now, is it worth it? Maybe not. But is the fun worth it?
That's the
Maybe.
point. That's the point. Look, Raven is saying it's not true, Briss. I wouldn't be mad if I was the fleet that died. I just like some fleets. We all got fleets coming out of our asses. There's a war, guys. So for the vast majority of the big groups here, we don't need this kind of thing. But I guess yes, the small gang guys, yes, they're having fun because this gives them something to do. That's great. I don't have a problem with it. I just don't
Honestly,
see it
this
being
gives
a big deal for the big
this
groups.
gives the big groups something to do in the meantime. Like, I mean, we've been having fun doing it.
I mean, so people are calling this
it's giving me more practice on being a saber pilot.
people are calling this the new moon mining. I'm afraid I wasn't here for passive moons, but didn't you fight over passive moons in the past?
I have no idea.
Especially
I
a
didn't
good
do
passive
any of
moon?
that.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
So you wouldn't fight over the reserve banks today because
the passive
simply
moons,
because of the
you didn't
war?
have to do anything that generated ISK automatically. The ESS is
reserve
here. They're not
banks-
generating ISK automatically. They're taking portions of what players are generating.
Well, the
So,
reserve
but
bank, at least.
but part of the thing of fighting over it was you fought over it because whoever controlled the thing could go get the stuff out. I mean, that's why I think that what's going to end up happening is for these very expensive reserve banks, the guys that control that space are going to go in there and take it.
Well, of course, yeah.
And there's
like,
not much you
I
can
mean,
do to
that's
stop them.
that's a standard policy unless you happen to be there right time, right place to get it. But the regular
Goomba, I am just a line member. Why?
some of them are really
Jesus
good.
Christ, you people! I am just a line member. I don't know why that triggers people when I say that, but it's true.
I mean, I'm just a line member too, but I have access to fun channels and talk.
I have
to
access
people,
to
so.
nothing. I am a line member.
I have more access.
I'm not
than
in
Briss
any
has.
special channel.
You're a CSM member of the Imperium.
That doesn't mean that
member,
I'm privy to any special stuff.
It really means nothing.
Anything.
He's privy to nothing because
I'm
I
in
can see all
nothing.
the channels that would be actually interesting.
And I'm
Not
not
all
in
of
any
them.
of them.
Apparently.
I'm not.
Brisk, I
Just
do want to
saying.
ask because you're not on the meta show, so it's free reign.
Not even a director. What's up?
Do you have any comments on the soda on Sunday that you didn't get to like? Because they were like gang banging you on Tuesday. It was pretty rough. Like, you did a really good job, and I found some of your reactions and responses really funny on Tuesday. But they were like
That's what I
gang
do.
banging you hard.
No, it's fine. I mean, look, I'm used to that. It's not a big deal. Me face tanking 10 on 1 and then being told I don't know what face tanking is, having the guys trying to explain or try to define what the word spy means and things like that. It's typical stuff.
Funny.
I could do that all day long. It doesn't bother me at all.
It was funny.
Yeah.
But
that was fun. I enjoyed it.
Any comments?
Although I will say Wednesday morning my back hurt. My back hurt because I had to carry Redline's show for a whole fucking 2 hours on my back. It was good. Anyway.
But do you have any comments about anything that Billy or Pete Pickles said at the soda? Because I found the whole thing.
Can I be bluntly honest
laughable.
Yeah.
I'll be bluntly honest.
Did you not listen at all?
I didn't fucking listen to a word they said. I don't care.
I skipped through half of it because it was just a lot of dick sucking. But
I could write their stuff.
See, I'm glad.
Hey guys, you're doing great. We're pushing. Slowly, we've got the noose around their necks. We're going to take their space. We're going to clear it out. We're going to live there. They're not going to be a force to reckon with. It just we need to keep doing this. Keep showing up for fleets. Fight hard. We're going to do it. It's going to take time. It's going to take a couple months, but we're going to get there. Don't worry. Everything's going great. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, I could write the fucking thing. I don't need to hear it.
Honest, no spin. How much more do you think they got in the tank?
Well, considering that they talked about how they're having struggles getting link pilots and that there are some SRP troubles, I don't know.
Like, we just start ramping up our SRP. Like, I know my corp just started adding more bonus SRP.
I know, it's great. Man, Corp
And
SRP is the greatest. And then not only that, but our Corp's making money with this war. It's so fantastic. It's
I
so
don't see
great.
these
and
guys
here's the
leaving
We are
funny
anytime
part.
thriving.
soon. To be honest, I don't. I think they got plenty more in the tank. I think as long as they are, well, I'll tell you, it sounds to me like there are a lot of people in Test, a lot of people in Horde. This is their first major war, and they're okay with grinding 50 structures a day. They don't care. It doesn't bother them. So they're having fun. So as long as they're having fun, they're getting people in fleets, then I don't see it going anywhere. I mean,
Richard,
what
are
I
you
expect.
getting paid still?
Say
Sorry.
what?
Are you
Sure,
still
Richard's
getting
getting
paid by Billy?
I'm not sure. We aren't committed to a single war zone right now. We just go around hunting stuff. We did get a small,
Okay.
well, we did get a payout for the TD Senroko yesterday.
Okay. Anyways, continue, Briss. I
No,
wanted to know that. It came up to my head.
Well, like I said, I don't see them stopping anytime soon. My expectation is like the tribute war. What's going to stop this thing is some outside thing happening that everybody has to go deal with. So they just say, "All right, we've done enough. We did what we came to do. We're done," and that's it. And whether that's
So you're saying we're gonna
they
have
push
another
they take one DQ and clear out all the structures, and then they can claim that they won or something. I mean, there'll be some end result where Billy and the guys can claim that they won, and we can claim that they didn't, and everybody goes back to whatever they were doing, and there you go.
And you're
But
still on the no big Titan fight bandwagon,
well,
aren't
I'll
you?
be
Oh.
honest. You guys, I know Dawn and the rest of you guys were saying, "Oh, that we're not going to do this for this without having this, and we're going to have this big capital fight. We're going to have." I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I look at New Eden right now. I look at the mining changes. I look at the anomaly changes. I look at the ratting changes. I look at the structure changes, and I look at Delve, and I look at the rest of space, and I say, why do we care about Delve? Other than the fact that like there is a affinity there because we lived there for so long. But what about everything that was good about Delve is not good anymore because it was all changed.
They
Everything has
nerfed
been
to the
changed.
ground.
Exactly. I mean, CCP has spent the last 3 years nerfing the game based around what we did in Delve to the point that I think Delve is not that great space anymore. I think the absolute best space in the game, as amazing as it sounds, because it wasn't true before, is drone lands. I mean, that's where you want to be. That's where you're far away from everything, but you're still close to the empires, and you have no NPC space to worry about, and you can defend stuff, and you're really far out of the way, and you've got buffer regions between you and any of the bad guys. So I'm kind of thinking, why are we worried? Why don't we care about Delph? You know. So
where
I don't
would
know
you
if
go
it's
if
worth
you...
us losing all of our capitals, or losing our super capital fleet, or losing our or throwing our Titan, yellowing our Titan fleet around to save space that's not as good as it was 3 years ago when we came here. That's me speaking as a regular person. That's my take on it.
So,
I would be
Briss,
saying,
you were
hey,
gonna,
let's go
sorry, not
somewhere
Briss.
else.
Rich, you were gonna ask where would we go
Yeah.
if we had a
So
choose?
well, some people will say they'll live in Dell forever, they'll never move, blah blah blah. Well, and Brisk here says, Delve has been heavily nerfed. Villy's got his own ulterior motives. I don't know. Well, I mean, for me, I live in a C2 wormhole. There's all sorts of other C2 wormholes I could live in. I don't have to live in the one I currently live in. In fact, I've been coveting another wormhole for a long time, but I don't think we're going to get it for the time being. But where would you move to if you had to choose somewhere else?
I mean, honestly, if we had to go anywhere right now, I don't know. I liked living in Tenal. I had fun up there. I liked living up there. I liked living in Faith Abilis. I like living in systems that are far away from things.
I think Declan is
Homist
strong
would
right
be
now.
nice this time of year.
Oh
But
yeah,
anyway, I
Homist.
mean, look, at the end of the day, the reality of TrueSec and all that kind of stuff doesn't matter as much. The real question now is, where do you have the most systems that you can spread out? And that's about it. Everything else is. And are you close enough? Do you have logistic routes? And is the NPC space far enough away that you can get your guys safe under your umbrella? That's not under somebody's dread bomb range. I mean, that's about it. And there are very few places in the game like that, but the Dragonlands is the main one. But I don't see anybody being able to evict Fraternity from up there, at least right now, the way that the game is set. That space is hard to get to, hard to attack. And I think what would need to happen is that you would have to have a big blue donut coalition to move Fraternity out of that space to make that happen. And I don't see that. I don't think there's a desire for that right now. But I don't see people chasing goons around forever either, because at some point
I think NC could.
But they didn't, and they did that. They could have done that before, and they claimed that they were going to do that before, and they got bored and left. I don't see at some point after you have smacked somebody around enough that they're not that they're not showing up and people aren't logging in and they're not really playing as much as they used to. At some point, it's not fun anymore, and you go do something else. Or there's some desire to go fight some other big guys. I mean, everybody keeps, we're going to chase goons around the map. No, you're not.
Well, you know how your predictions and my predictions have gone this war. So
yeah, everything I say is always wrong. So just take that with a big grain of salt, right? So,
I would pick Declan or unironically Providence. Like, Providence looks beautiful this time of year, other than the fact they have no ore right now. But if they put it back in, let me tell you, it's got direct access to high sec right to Amar, basically, and it's got low sec nearby, and the rats are easy rats with Sunshine. I don't see the problem here.
As someone who started this game in Provi Block itself has been a fantastic concept for years, and they will always hold a very, very dear place in my heart. Providence as a region looks absolutely fucking beautiful. I mean, especially with Niarja and cutting off Jita from Amar and all that fun bullshit, like having that close ass access. I mean, I know it would make somebody like Ragnar and make your job fucking cream and easy.
Well, Ragnar's busy doing something at the moment. So.
Izzy, but it would make Ragnar and Tuzzy would be like,
Of a Logi pilot. Yeah, instead of like 4 or 5 jump freighter runs to get to G, it'd be like a jump freighter and some gates to get to fucking Amar. So, Rich, you live in a C2? And you're coveting a different C2?
Yes, there is another C2 that I would like to try and live in and see what it's like to live in that kind of environment.
No, we've evicted people out of wormholes before.
When I go for like C5, C2 static.
Not talking about rage, different stuff.
I'm aware there was the Inner Hell. Sorry, not Inner Hell. Hard Knocks wormhole. I'm aware of that.
It's one of those things where, like, I will flat out say this, and I recommend everybody who hasn't gone to Null to at least spend 3 months in Wormhole Space. Wormhole Space will make you a better player.
Fuck that.
No, there's skills that I picked up in Wormhole Space.
Fuck wormholes.
No. There's a certain amount of paranoia you develop, and it makes you far more of a better player for nullsec.
The only reason why I will never live in a wormhole is because I can't handle stress like that. I don't do well with insecurities. Like, throughout this war, because I'm a nervous Nancy, like, my boy toy has had to try to calm me down. I'm like, everything's going wrong, and everything's falling apart, and everything's terrible. Like, he has to keep me calm, because it's not good. Like, that's why I don't do abyssal sites, is because I can't handle, like, a 20-minute time limit. Like, it's, like, stresses me the fuck out. So the fact that I gotta be in a wormhole where I gotta sit there and D-scan constantly, oh, no. No. No, thank you.
Yeah, I play Eve to, like, de-stress from my already stressful ass life. I don't need to live in wormhole space with that paranoia. No way.
Yeah, I
think scanning is very therapeutic. I enjoy scanning for wormholes.
Scanning is therapeutic.
Scanning's fine.
Scanning's fine, but
Yeah,
like
sitting
As for
close and
paranoia,
scanning's fine.
dealing with the rats, dealing with other people, dealing with the fact that you can log in at any moment to find that some other fucking wormhole bitch is shooting your fucking structures.
I don't know. I mean, I drastically enjoyed the $2 billion an hour that I was making there.
Hey,
Yeah,
don't
like,
tell them
I
that.
understand that.
First rule of wormhole wealth: don't talk about it.
But he's a
Like-
null secker.
First rule of Plague Eve: don't talk about Eve.
Like it's one of those things where it's kind of a skewed thing. They don't ever talk about the 30 to 45 minutes you spend prepping the hole and how many times that hole gets rolled into when you're like already about done finished prepping it. But
I just
when
want to make some
you
really bad
get
jokes right
down,
now.
when you get to like a 6 hour play session and you spend 30 minutes prepping the hole and then you blast all the sites and you get it all to yourself, yeah, that's easy $2 billion an hour for 5 hours. I mean, it would
Like,
be not uncommon for me to pull 12 bill in a single day.
please tell me my mind, I wasn't the only
Prepping
person
the
that
hole,
instantly
right?
went, yeah.
Prepping the hole. Good job, Dia. Way to go. I
Good
have the
job.
immaturity of like a 12-year-old sometimes. I'm sorry, guys.
Hey, Rich understands. He knows what I'm talking about. That's wormhole language.
No. Prepping the hole is something different here. Well,
All
welcome to Theta. Listen,
Yeah,
Rich, if you're
yeah.
prepping any holes, man, you gotta tell us.
Hey, wait, I'm back. I heard about holes. What is this?
God. Anyways, Rich, because Brisk is muted for the moment. This is your opportunity. Are there any questions that you would like us to answer honestly about, as much as we can, about Imperium lifestyle, or even nullsec lifestyle that you've never experienced? Because test is very different from Imperium. I don't know, you've been in test, but you had a really shitty experience over there. So, any questions? Give me the opportunity now.
I'm more curious about the Imperium diplomatic process. It's remarkably difficult to
I knew
find.
it.
What?
I knew you'd
Yes,
ask about it. I figured you would.
Yes, it's remarkably difficult for me to contact any kind of Imperium
Yeah.
diplomat for diplomatic things. It's
You
with
have
Test,
to
I can
remember,
immediately
like,
message
we
Villy.
owe you. Yeah, but Villy also
Just talk to
like
Murata.
an attention
That's all you gotta do.
whore. So you have to remember that. Like, there are people that talk to that are pretty out there. Like, we know that there's diplomatic, right? Marana, Twizzle Sparks, I think is one. Dirk Steele on Push to Talk
He
is a
ignored my
diplomat, or
DMs for
has been
several
diplomat.
months.
Well, okay.
He was on
That's the
holiday.
other part of this. Let's the other part of it is they anyone outside of the Imperium, the view is we don't necessarily owe you anything. We don't owe you any information. We don't have to. We don't have to answer a single thing you want because your group is, if you're not in Imperium, you are hostile. That's
Oh,
just
that's
how
a
it is.
shame. I mean,
Now,
to me, there's difference between actively hostile groups that we deal with and actually just neutral groups. Like we treat everybody, we treat all neutral groups as neutral groups. We treat them as human beings, and we respond to their diplomatic requests.
Rich, what are
We
you
don't view
looking
them
for?
as.
What
it
in
does
terms of
depend.
diplomatic?
Originally,
you just looking
what I was
for someone
looking
to hire
for.
you guys or what?
No, originally what I was looking for was a former
Not a
Imperium
corpse dealer.
member wanted to join, and apparently he was a corpse thief, so I wanted to know a little bit more about him. And I had the hardest time finding it out. And eventually I managed to get the information I need through, but I had to go through. Well, I had to go do the investigating myself. I had to use my own resources.
but
There was no diplomat I could go to.
The thing is for you to understand.
But Rich, that's us
if I
doing you
was
a favor by giving you info that you want.
Exactly. Like, we don't need to do that per se, unless there's a benefit to us in some
There
way.
was a
The
benefit
other
to
thing
you.
is not necessarily. Like, it depends on what the conversation was, and I was not there. But I will let you know that kind of information on if they were a corpse dealer or not. If in Goonstorm, I can't go to a diplomat per se and ask, "Hey, why is this person blacklisted?" They will not tell me that answer because that is
that's a
a
shame.
personal thing between. It's privacy. Like, shit happened. You're blacklisted. Okay, but spreading lies around or libel and stuff, it's not necessary. They are blacklisted from the Imperium. There's no reason to spread anything else. I have had a friend or two that have. I'm the curse of death, apparently, if you get in business with me. I've had at least two people blacklisted. One of them I knew why. The other one I didn't know, and I still don't know.
Well,
Oh,
See,
because
I
to me, it's just basic mutual respect. It's the fact that you wouldn't want a corp thief in your corp, and I wouldn't want a corp thief in. I don't want to send anybody that stole from my corp to you. I presumably I don't want you to send that to me either.
I'm
It's
not
not
going to reach
helping
out to you.
helping the enemy. It's more of a case of just making the game better for everyone else. Nobody likes corp thieves. Nobody likes these people who betray. I mean,
But
sure,
but
you
they
might
don't
like
have
them for
to
the fact
give
that
you an
they
answer.
did, but
are you sure?
I
Because
certainly wouldn't
we
want to
got
associate with
Necro in
them.
our corp.
Like, we don't have to give you. The thing is our diplomats never have to give you an answer or respond. Just like we would
Do
never
you want to know what I
expect
did?
the hostile alliance to ever give us any information about the people they send us. Because, like,
Do you
I've
want to
been a
know what I did for
recruiter.
you?
Please tell me.
Okay. And I think this is going to be one of the first times I've publicly said this, but the corp thief that tried to join us, we found out he was a corp thief, and we wanted to get more information from the Imperium diplomats, and we couldn't. We had to go through. I tried messaging Dirk Statil. It was completely useless. I tried to have a conversation here. All that happened was I was harassed by Wibbler and laughed at, but very well. Yeah, I was just harassed by Wibbler for it. So I didn't enjoy that experience at all. I thought, this is a terrible diplomatic process. Eventually, through one way or another, I'm not going to say how, I did manage to get an answer. And because of this answer we got and what we were able to work with, we managed to convince the guy to send almost every penny of ISK he's stolen from the Imperium back to the group that he stole it from. We convinced him that we told him this is a wrong thing to do. You got to make amends. You should return this, and he did, because it's the right thing to do. It doesn't matter if you were my enemy or you were my friend. This is just it's. I wouldn't want it to happen to you. I wouldn't want it to happen to me either. And that's, I guess, a mutual respect. That's the small gang mentality.
That's
Even if
the
you're our
difference, though.
worst enemy, we wouldn't
That's
want you to send
You're
a corp
talking
thief under your
Now,
corp.
now take that
You are
request and
you're
multiply it by
stalking the tall
1,000,
gang, though.
and that's
You,
that's the issue.
you're talking about a space Bushido, where on the block level, no, it's no
There is
holds
no
barred.
Bushido. Everyone's out to fuck you in the ass.
I don't know. Look,
That is it.
I just do the right thing. I think the game would be a lot better of a place if we didn't have to resort to underhanded tactics and
I think
these terrible
Okay.
I think
actions people
Rich
take.
hasn't gotten to. I feel like you haven't gotten to experience the level of. I wouldn't necessarily. I wouldn't necessarily say hate boner, but just the very unease of being in a high position within a huge block like the Imperium. Those diplomats, they say one. It's so hard for me to get across, but they say one thing wrong and they lose their space job. They say one thing right and they can become a goon hero. And their job is not only difficult, but the fact that they have just so much of that job. That simple request you put in, any random goon swarm diplomat gets 1,001 of those kinds of requests a day. And it's
And
a very
everyone's
difficult
profile.
thing, and everyone's different. You got some goon swarm diplomats that are very nice. You have some diplomats that are not so nice.
I mean, there's a poem about this. It's just a matter of being able to rub your shoulders with kings and not lose a common touch. And that's a shame. I can rub shoulders with anybody at highest level. I'm still going to be able to keep the common touch, or at least I hope so. And
There's
for
different
Okay,
tiers.
Rich.
So, like, if you
just
reach
for the
out to,
record,
like, go ahead.
just for the record, the amount that we restored that was stolen, unfairly stolen, and by somebody who betrayed his corp and just looted things that didn't belong to him. This shitty behavior, which I don't want. I don't like seeing in the game. If it's like a proper born and bred spy, you're real undercover. You lied your way through, and you were loyal to your original handlers in the first place. Yeah, congratulations. But this wasn't a spy. This was just somebody who got upset, who wanted to steal, who wanted to do this terrible thing. He was a traitor, and I didn't like to see it. The amount I restored to the Imperium through just finding this information out and telling him, dude, this is wrong. If you want to move on from this, just give the money back. It was almost worth a Titan. It was just shy of about 70 to 80 billion. I restored back.
So there's
I
a
didn't
lot.
ask for any thanks. I didn't ask for any recognition. It's just the right thing to do.
Rich, I get it, and I know where you're coming from. The difference is like this space Bushido mentality actually comes from like wormholes, because wormholes you have a limit to that you can put into the fight. It's almost like the Alliance tournament where you get so many points, and those points happens to be mass on the whole. And that's one of those things where there's a lot more space Bushido in regards to wormhole fights. But when you start talking about the null blocks, no one cares about it, because all they care about is winning. And that sense of honor is completely lost. It's all about what it takes to win. For instance,
So we have so many spies like that get in. No matter how thorough you are, like shit happens. So you just kind of cut some things a lot. Honestly, though, the cost of a Titan, it would cost a lot more. So like, I have more to lose
Sorry, a Titan
than
Hall
that.
at the time.
Yeah, I still have a lot more to lose. If I if I ever fucked up, whatever reason, or if like someone tried to tempt me away. Like I've talked with Jay about we've talked about Theta in general, like everybody's prices. Like that's just a conversation we have every now and then. Like just talking with Jay, like it'd have to be in the trillions to get me to even consider leaving, because I have so much to lose.
Hmm.
And it's not
I
just
get it.
money,
It's a
reputation.
it's a plays win
It's,
mentality. It's the whole we'll do anything it takes to win mentality. But to me, if winning means doing those things, if winning means making the game no longer fun, and just
depends. Like
this,
corp I was
it's not something I would
the
want to
whole
do.
the corp that I was in before, Sundering, which everybody should join. They're fantastic and I love them. Sundering's biggest claim to fame is
Scamming.
knock knock knock. Scamming. Scamming. That's how most of the people made their money. I don't like scamming, and I never will approve of it. But you do you, boo boo. Like I ain't gonna stop you. But that some corps, that's their thing, is luring someone in, talking with them, building the rapport, and then breaking that trust and violating it. I'm not okay with that, but other people are really good at it and they really like doing it, and they make their billions that way.
You know what? I'd say
Would I?
screw
Oh,
that. If there's that kind of person there, no, there's no point in avoiding the elephant in the room. Somebody's got to address it and call that shit out and say, hey, that's not okay. That's not the right way. That's that's not cool. That's yeah. I'll call it out.
In the room. Are you saying Mifune's fat?
What? No, I see him on screen. He looks.
I am extremely skinny. I am a fucking
I
stick.
don't know what you're talking about.
I am a fucking
who said
stick.
he was fat? I never said he was fat. He looks. He weighs less than me.
yeah, you got this whole slick West Coast vibe going on there, Mifune. I mean, where you got the light on the microphone.
Look,
trying to hide the part.
Oh, I gotta get a microphone soon. Brisk, what do you use?
I have a blue mic that I got from our wonderful partners, Imperium News. I don't have a blue Yeti. I have the Spark SLR one, or XLR one, I should say. So I like it.
Well, I would love to buy a Blue Yeti mic, but I literally bought this mic less than 3 months ago. And I didn't, and well, no, I bought this mic right before I started streaming for INN, so I had no discount or anything like that for Blue until
Did we get it
afterwards. I think there's something in there. There's a Life Shifter. I think can move some things around. Yeah, he moves some stuff around sometimes. But we
have a sponsorship.
Yeah, I quite literally bought this mic literally a month before I started streaming for INN. So I was like, it's a brand new mic. It's already, I can't replace it at this point because the box is already gone, and I called them and they wouldn't let me replace it. So I'm kind of stuck with it whether I want it or not.
Hey,
You
by
need
the
a
way,
care.
I'm very pleased with my blue gear, and I strongly suggest that you guys get
I
blue
am
mic.
very pleased. I'm very pleased with the boom arm they gave me. Extremely. I love this boom arm. I am literally able to sit on Discord. Like, okay, so this is weird because y'all can't see with my room, but my twin size bed is literally right next to my desk, right over there. And because of the way my boom arm is, I can literally sit on Discord with my friends and literally just shove the boom arm over and have it right in front of my pillow and just sit there and chat with my friends while we watch fucking Netflix on
Mifune,
TV.
if you say literally again, I'm going to literally shove that boom arm up your literal ass.
hey, so
Hmm.
how you get all the girls? You show them your boom.
No.
It's
How
all a
do I get all the girls? I play my guitar and then like 4 girls are like, "Oh my god."
No, you just tell them you play Eve. Doesn't that work?
And he's dropping.
Gotta work, right?
Hey, Brisk,
I use
I need
an
you to-
Audio Technica 80-2020 microphone set up to some sort of amp system. It doesn't belong to me. It belongs to my most trusty advisor, my best friend, who's lent it to me. Then again, he lends me a lot of things. I did fund his college tuition, after all.
How are the
Brisk.
alpacas, by the way? Right?
Oh, the alpacas are doing fine. There are.
A lot of-
I'm going to have to be feeding them a lot more hay now. I own
You can share that with
alpacas.
people. Yes.
I'll
Has an
see if I can.
alpaca farm with your mom, right? Or like just like are they yours? Are they family's alpacas? And they are
They're
fucking
the-
adorable.
But you know what? I'll address something somebody said in chat. Yeah, people get blacklisted all the time. People get passed through the blocks. But this guy, befriended people. He was vouched by people. He was entrusted to do some things, and he wanted. One day he, well, decided to abuse all the trust and the friends he's gotten just to run off with a mere what, 60, 70, 70, 80 billion, just like a Titan haul at the time. It's like that's. I wouldn't
Something that's
trade.
worth it. I would do it. But
I mean, to trade a friend for that, no chance. No chance. It's
come and
it's
go.
shitty.
You
I
can't
don't want
put
to
them
see it
in break
again.
all the time.
I mean,
Now, I do have a question for. Hold on, Mifune. I have a question for Brisk. Brisk, how many offers have you gotten to leave Imperial throughout the war? Do you
I
have
get
any, like,
corp invites all the time. I get random
feel
corp
like people
invites.
actually
on
come
a daily
to you.
basis.
like, yo,
serious
Brisk,
offers.
you can go up here anytime.
To
I
betray
get that
them.
all the time. I'm not going. Look,
Betray
if I ever leave in it, it'll be to go to Karma Fleet. That's the only way that I would leave in it. But I'm not doing that anytime soon. So
Had 2 so far. 2.
Oh yeah, Don, tell
I,
them the price.
I like my friends. I have friends, and I like playing with my friends. So there you go. That's why I laugh at all these guys. Why would you join goons? Why do you still hang out with these guys? They're my friends. I like them. They're fun. I'm not going to just stop liking them
with my
because you
friends,
think
too.
they're mean. Sorry, guys.
What did you say?
I just said I'm sorry. I feel bad for these
You're
guys.
not-
Are like, oh my god, those are bad. Well, I like them. They're nice to me. Sorry. Maybe you should not have been dicks
Yeah.
to them, and they wouldn't be dicks to you. But anyway, I have no problems with that. Dia, you were going to ask me something I thought before. Maybe.
We need to get Mifune an actual cameraman. He is not capable of piloting and broadcasting at the same time. He will-
Listen, this is the best we got, yo. So it's not
Well,
changing.
I think he needs more. I think he needs more mics. Or actually, no, not more mics. He needs more screens. How many screens do you have, Mifune?
I have about 3 monitors on my PC, a laptop, a cell phone that I constantly keep running with things on it, and I am currently working on getting a 4th monitor for my PC after I move out of my parents' house.
Then you should be fine. You should have enough screen space to be able to run the stream without having to pay too much attention to it and do the other stuff.
Oh, I have enough screen space. It's a matter of computing power and then mental power of what I'm focusing on. Because most of the time when I'm dying on stream, I'm either addressing somebody in the chat or I'm looking so far off the grid, like 500-600 kilometers out, and I'm not even noticing my capacitor and seeing the little blue line move that determines I'm burning off tether or something. I'm paying attention to other shit. I'm young. My attention span isn't long enough to like stare at my thing and make sure I'm not fucking
even
moving.
20 yet.
That's why God invented Adderall.
Yeah.
How many monitors do you have, Mifune?
How many what?
Monitors.
technically 5 in total.
I'm
But
jealous
three
of you guys
regular
with 4
monitors.
monitors now because I used to have
agree.
4 monitors, but I can't run 4 monitors
Oh,
It's
trust
insane.
me.
You
CPU do
could.
you have?
How many what?
Because this new top of the line RTX 3090 whatever is not capable of running 4 monitors.
You're not wrong.
Oh, dear
I
God,
right?
Brits.
I literally put in a
Fucking
support.
stupid.
No, I put in a support ticket with Nvidia the other day, and my 2070 Super cannot run the latest Call of Duty at 60 frames on max graphics. I just bought this graphics card 2.5 months ago, and you're telling me you can't run a brand new game at 60 frames? Like, you
Y'all
gotta be
worry too
kidding
much
me.
about that.
I'm just annoyed because my Titan XP could run them, and now I guess I
Can I
can't
have that? Send that over.
What?
The Titan. I've only got an R9. No, sorry. Got a
I
1070 Ti, I think.
I gave the Titan to one of my corpmates. So there you go.
I got a 1080
Bastard.
Ti,
Sorry.
and I'm not gonna part with this card until I really upgrade my PC, and that's probably still another 3 or 4 years away.
I will say I
And I've
can
had this
run Arc now, full graphics, and I don't crash in the middle of tie-dye fights. Y'all were crashing left and right, and I was the only one who's stable. Like, okay, so we had a fleet, the Enho trap, right? The Enho trap fleet. Mike and Cauldronborn were both DCing all night, over and over and over again. So I just said, throw the fleet to me. I'll hold it. You know, you guys can come in. I'll make you fleet commander. But like, you know, just throw it to me and I'll take it because I was the only one who wasn't crashing the whole night. So whatever this thing is that I bought at half price works.
Drunkenx like just run 2 Samsung 49s. I have a Samsung 49. That's the problem. Because apparently, like, you can only run like 7680 on this 3090. So I have 2 27-inch 4K monitors. I got this Odyssey G9, and I had another one that I was running off the HDMI that was like smaller, but it's the same make and model of the other 2 monitors that I've got, and it was too much space, and they said it can't run that much.
Look, my problem is
bullshit. But
shut up.
My problem is that one of my monitors is 42 inches across and the other 2 are 32 inches across. I mean, I have so much fucking screen. It's not even funny.
When I bought my monitors, I bought them all at the same time because I wanted them to be the same size, same make, same model, so there wouldn't be any issues like that. And then I bought this big giant one, and I like the big giant one. I think the big giant one is very much fun. But I liked having the 4 because I could do a lot of stuff. The 3 is okay. It's not bad. I mean, this is all first world problems. I'm just sad that I couldn't do what I wanted it to do. That's all.
Before we go down the bunny rail, because it has been 2 hours, and I have no problem hanging out talking.
I have no problem hanging out and talking, but my family will have a problem.
Rich, I know that it's late for you, so I wanted to see, did you have any other questions or anything, or like things you wanted to talk about? Because like this is Theta Thursday. We talk about.
I'm gonna bail and let you guys keep talking to Rich. So I'll see you all next Saturday.
Okay, Chris. Bye, Chris.
Tomorrow,
we'll see you.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Saturday on the Meta Show. What's tomorrow? I don't.
Tomorrow is open comms. You can come hang out.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I work Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so it's kind of like. Just I don't watch much
Catch
Twitch.
it on the VOD. Well, don't catch open comms on VOD because you gotta kind of be there for that show. But we'll see you on Meta Show on Saturday. So bye, guys.
Bye, Brisk.
Take care, Brisk. Do I have anything else that I wish to ask about?
Or comment on, or like whatever. Like I'll do whatever. Like there ain't nothing going on tonight.
I'm hoping to hear what how many people are in Goonswarm Federation.
35 to 40,000.
29,000 members. Well, round it up to we'll
So-
round it down because it's
Okay,
alts
so
and
take
such.
that number. No.
Divided by
Alts,
2.
I have 5 alts already. So
Okay, 5 alts.
take
I have
that,
about.
so expect most people on average have about 4 to 5 alts. So just take that number, 29,000 whatever, and just like cut it. So that's the
we'll say
amount of real
about
people.
9,000 people
I
in
would
Goon
say-
Swarm Federation. I'm
That's
curious
a
to what
healthy
if anybody's thought of any interesting ESS fleet fittings or like strategies or compositions for
So,
out of those
I'm sure.
thousands of people.
Are you talking about defense or offensive here? Because
Yes.
I've thought about this a little. So
Sorry,
for
for more roaming compositions, this would mean you would be going inside, which means you need to have offense, and you also need to hold it from the inside, which also means you need defense.
it's kind of weird because my brain works weird, and I'm not the best FC on the planet. Lord knows I'm not the best FC on the planet, so take what I say with a grain of salt. But when I think of ESS fleets, I think of defending them and delve and home defense, because that's what I do a lot of the time, is all these home defense shit. And so what I'm thinking is we have this doctrine that's Asteros, and the whole point of our
They
Astero
can't go
doctrine.
in there.
Oh, they
Tony,
can't. Can't.
Asteros are frigates.
Oh,
Stop.
I'm sorry.
Remember,
brain,
backtrack, not vertical
brain,
defense.
brain,
ESS
brain,
defense.
my brain. Welcome to my
It's
brain.
been 2 hours. Give us the break.
Okay.
No, welcome to my brain in general.
ask
This
them
is
right
my
here.
dumbass brain in general.
So I
but
can answer that. Hold on.
yeah,
let me
you
finish.
go.
I
You
can
go.
answer. So for defense, when it comes to block level defense, we think of the most newbie and dummy resistant group we can, which is probably the Ferox or the Caracal fleet doctrine we already have. It takes nobody to know how to do it, and it requires very little skill. You just need numbers. So you need, 50 of this or 30 of that, and we have that. So when it comes to defense, honestly, that's probably all we've ever thought of right now, because we're kind of busy, is just like, what is the least amount of effort to put into this to defend these things? This, okay. So a lot of people just refit their Caracals or their Feroxes to AB and defend their sites, if they
Well,
need to, which aren't that many.
there's also other, like, there's one I've been specifically thinking about today, and it's one of those things where Blops is actually looking like a strong candidate too. And it's one of those things where Stratioses are beautiful ships, and you can set up them for Logi, you can set them up for just pure buffer, but you can also send in, what is it, a Rapier, uh, everything you need.
Hugin.
Yeah, well, Hugin can't because it's not a Blops, but everything you
It's a
need.
Black Ops. It's a Cove Ops ship, right? It's a recon?
No, it's a combat
They can
recon.
take Black Ops bridges,
They
right?
can't
They
take
can't
a
take
Black
Black
Ops
combat
bridge. They
recon.
can't take
Okay,
Blops
fine,
bridge.
whatever. I'll just use my Titan then. Fuck it.
Well,
But yeah,
but that's the whole idea, is like you want something that this is the whole defense is going to be probably on our time on our fleet would be equivalent of like JU standing or Theta, and you're going to have 25 to 50 people generally hanging around because that's generally what happens with Theta, and you're going to send out this entire Blops wing, and it's going to be already there. Everybody sits in 1EQ generally, anyways, and it's going to be sent to the Sino beacons, and you don't have to worry about anything. The Blops just sits there at the Sino beacon, cloaks up, waits for everybody to do their thing, and then you use your covert Sino back if everything's Sino jammed, or you use the beacon on the way back, or the safe Sino fleet on the way back. But the Blops is going to be the easiest way, and they have the best ships that actually get out and really screw things
yeah.
up.
For
Like two
defense, Stratios, Loki's, Legion, Proteus for being really hull tanky or whatever. Like, if we were defending, you would see that running around right now consistently. It's either of 100-man Caracals / Feroxes or 20 to 30 Black Ops. That's what you'd see.
and it'd be blingy, and it'd just be goon cannon there. I mean, it's one of those things where once the ESS gets a little bit more on par, you'll see someone ping ESS hack this system. Within a minute, you'll have a goon cannon there.
I
And
see.
that's not always going to win. I mean, that's the thing, is sometimes we run into those problems where we can't solve it with those issues, those things. Those things are kind of like the general tool belt that could probably deal with it, but It's not guaranteed to deal with whatever's coming. You bring 30 nightmares, 50 caracals are not going to kill 30 nightmares. It's not going to happen.
The guy in chat brings up an interesting thing, because I think I joked about it at the beginning of the stream, is those 2.5 billion fitted Macarials and all that kind of shit. That would be decent for ESS, like Max or like a Cinnable, if Cinnables can fit. I don't know. I haven't messed around with CSSs too much, which is why I got the frigate thing wrong, because I'm a fucking dumbass when it comes to this shit. But like Max or Cinnables, the Praxis, they're all decent ships for this kind of PvP. Maybe even a Hyperion.
Now, Rich, I want to get your opinion on one thing. So there's something not being talked about in regards to the ESSs, and that's the real-time data that you can actually get. And I think it's incredibly overpowered.
Oh fuck yeah, it's overpowered. Unfortunately,
it's
sometimes by the time we get there, we find somebody's stolen all the stuff. Oh hell yeah, 200 mil, 3 jumps. We get there, guess what? Bank robbers are in local.
Already got it.
They've already stolen it.
Well, here's the other thing, though. I think this is another tool that's entirely way too strong against super routing, because it's one of those things where you don't have to have the alt in the system already ready to go to tackle them. You have the system logged off. You know which systems, and for someone with I'm just going to use Olmeca that had the resources, he can see in the system without in a wormhole. He doesn't even need to be in the region, and he can see whether or not someone's ratting in a system, and then he logs in.
No, I can't view the ESS within the wormhole. That doesn't work that way.
You have to be out in space. Yeah, the ESS. We went into Theta, and the wormhole and the ESS didn't work. So, or the ESS view sheet didn't work in a wormhole. So you have to be in null space to see it.
Are you sure?
Or just space in general. Just space in general. You have to be somewhere where they could kill you.
You have to be within a certain jump rate. It is quite strong, and I understand that. What Omega will be able to do is he'll be able to log off a character in one system, and then sit 5, 10, 15 jumps away in another system, and monitor that system with his other account. It is definitely quite strong in that sense.
Rich, I want you to think about this. Omega camped 68 systems at a time. I want you to think about that. I know you didn't have to experience this in test or in wormhole space, but imagine having some crazy man, because he's fucking nuts, camping you almost 24/7 in 68 plus systems. You want to know what you get? If this ESS was around, he would be making bank money, because he stole a lot of fucking drones from really stupid people.
So Olmeca.
Do you know what it's like to live with a crazy man?
I fully understand and appreciate why you guys detest him so much, and I don't blame you at all for feeling this
Honestly,
way.
I miss him a little bit.
I don't miss him. Fuck that.
the thing about that made Olmeca laughable to me personally was just the amount of hate, the amount of pure hatred that he had for every living, breathing member of the Goonswarm Alliance, which just it was almost as if if I ever saw him at something like Eve Vegas, I would be afraid to approach him in not just like an Eve environment, like in a real life situation. He just had such a hate, and every person who would ever type in his Twitch chat saying that they were from Goonswarm instantly banned from his streams. Any Goon member that talked to him in local instantly slandered. It was bad.
He wants to play the victim card, right? All the time. Oh, I'm just doing my thing, and goons are so mean to me. They say the awful thing. No, you invited it. You started it. You started it, Mr. Olmeca Gold. You started it.
I just don't pay attention to him or his deeds.
I know.
It's the attention or the getting into your head. It just, I mean, I've never really felt that way. even when you had, even when all the groups, well, the groups that might have camped like test space, I'm not too sure. I think Blopsec, Marshy and such, even at that
What
time,
groups camp test?
I believe
What
Marshy had cloaky
groups
campers
camp
there.
pan fan?
And you also
Marshy
have
is one of the worst players in this game.
and you also had what was it, Ferrata Victrix, who always had a out in DP, and every now and then like a carrier would jump through at the wrong time, or uh, what's it called, a freighter would jump through at the wrong time, and they'll get blopsed on and they'll die, and life would go on. I'm afraid I don't haven't experienced enough to be able to comment on it, but I fully understand why a lot of members of Goonswarm absolutely detest and hate Olmeca. I don't blame them for it. He caused you guys a lot of issues.
No, he caused a
Wait,
lot of dumb
Omeka
people
had
issues. Let's talk
yeah, he caused dumb people
dumb
issues.
people
Like that's
issues.
one
Dumb people
thing I
issues, but I
actually
think it's
I
just
don't. You know what?
I miss him a little bit because he did a great job of weeding out the stupids.
Hey, but at the end of the day, they're still your people too, and they're people that could have been taught better or could have
Yeah,
been caught under bad circumstances. They're still people
and
too.
Look, they're still people,
and I'm the nice
but the thing
person
is,
that
you
saved
can't
them or
stop.
okay. 1 week, there was a Russian guy, he does not speak English, but he comes into Theta, he's like, help, tackle, in whatever fucking Russian he's speaking, right? I help him get himself straightened, and we save him. The next week, he does everything perfectly right. He listened to everything, like I typed out what he needed to do, and the next save, because he got tackled the next week, we were able to save him perfectly fine, no problem. So don't get me wrong here, like Omeka definitely kept me on my toes, kept people in Goonswarm on their toes on how to live and how to like avoid it, but it also like his presence and other people's presence such as Pen of Smash and Mad Cows and Vic Jefferson and all the other droppers, they required us to live a certain way in Delve that I don't think the rest of the game has ever had to do. And
You guys kept us on our toes when I was in test. I remember the night of what was it, 100 ravens, 200 ravens, when you bring 150 nados through. And I remember one day when there was when I was just a kooky line member who wanted to do his best and try everything. And one day when I was scouting out your fleet with a travel scepter, I told Cross, who was Mr. Rooks and Kings, I told him, Cross, they're bumping a hell off a Forza, and he said, what? Give me his contact, give me his name, and eventually the guy came into channel, and the Cross told him in Russian, you see your hell being bumped off structure when we told everybody to dock up, and the guy replied in Russian, da, yes, and he said, well, I hope you crabbed enough to be able to replace that hell. Like, that kept us on our toes all the time, and it would initiate raids into test space a lot. That scared the shit out of us. You definitely
was it
had,
daily?
it was one night it was 100 ravens, the other night it was a bunch of nados. It was several times a week.
Was it every day?
Every
All
day,
hours of the day.
every day, all hours a day? No, but
Okay, then you.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, the
so-
rest of the game does not understand what we had to go through for 4 years.
So basically,
you have-
imagine.
4 years.
So remember back in the days.
years.
I'm not sure if Rich.
Weren't you wait,
the-
4 years? Weren't you able to adapt in those 4 years, or like find a way to
Yeah, we
counter
did
him?
by big
Yeah, but it
defense on
was
super rare.
it was weird because here's the thing: is that Omeka would log in like one alt, right? He would log in all his alts right after downtime, and those alts would sit AFK cloaked, and most of the time, and I want to say a good 85% of the time, those alts would do nothing but sit there. But when Omeka started this, when he started this process, it was back in the days where if you saw a neutral in local, you didn't rat. You docked up and you waited for that neutral to go away. And then when Omeka first started, I can, as far as I can remember, back when I was in Karma Fleet, and him and Marshy were just getting started with this whole camping thing. It was a matter of dock up your VNI or dock up your capitals, get out your VNIs, and be careful out there. And then it grew into this thing where he would periodically start streaming on Twitch with a huge like minute delay, with like a huge like 30-40 minute delay. He had a delay.
Mecca had a 30-minute delay.
Yeah, 30. That's what I meant. He had like a 40-minute delay. And then what he would do is he would log on. He would go to he'd pick a random character out of all the ones he had logged in, and he would just hit the D-scan button. And if there was a carrier or a super carrier on D-scan, he would drop the probes, recloak up, start scanning them down, get a fleet together, and 5 minutes later, random drop out of nowhere. And, the best counter that we had for it was, of course, the Theta super fleet. And, we were there. We saved some people. We lost some people. But it was just annoying. It was annoying to have that tiny bit of anxiety that he was in there in every single system throughout Delve every single day from downtime to downtime. So at any and the weird thing was he started doing it like clockwork, like near the end of everything before supers got nerfed, he would only do it every Sunday. And then like Theta knew to be in our toes, but it was still just that thing of being there.
Rich, this didn't start out with him throwing supers and dreads and stuff everywhere, right? This started with him.
It started with bombers.
Started off with his free folk. Okay,
Yeah.
it'd be a group of 7 people, 7 alts that he used with Ice Boxer to get through them quickly. And he would warp to a system, find a rocal, not paying attention, warp to them, and boosh, 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 until the drones were over 500 kilometers away, and then just steal the drones and run away with them. And then use a blue alt of some kind to sell them back to Goonswarm at some point, right? He estimates in the trillions, possible, who knows. But that's how it started, was just a free folk, on top of Vic Jefferson running around killing people, and he could kill carriers with 30 to 40 bombers. No problem if they didn't sign up immediately for help, right? We would know that every fucking night, for a year in Theta, I'm helping run the response fleet to save carriers from bombers. 30 to 40 bombers could kill a carrier unless they signed it up immediately. And that went on for a year. And then Almeca decided, I'm going to make a bunch of alts. So then Almeca made it almost 60 plus alts. So he could just sit in systems and camp them, whether he was paying attention or not. So now you've got 60 alts playing around. Great. And then he would work with Marshy, who's like, I have dreadnoughts. Let's do this. So then Marshy and him would work on dreadnought drops and just kill supers occasionally. And it'd always be the non-English speaking dreadnoughts because, take the easy target. And he would just set up bubble traps where they'd warp into a bubble. They're fucked. But because they have the inhib would be just going online right as they land. But if they have their own sign-out, maybe we could save them. Shit like that happens, right? And they were also really tanky, so we had the chance of saving them because they were tanky. It takes a minute and a half to kill a super with 130 bombers. What chance do we have when we've got these people who can do this in 3 minutes? So it's like the best things possible is fucking ridiculous.
The thing is, I don't feel that you're alone in this. This problem also happens in the drone regions. You have Marcel, Constantino, Ren, Ascended Cigar. Like these groups, not only do they, not only do they camp just regular people running rats, but they drop. They have supers, they have blops, they have multiple people. They'll drop blops and supers on, other supers. These are the guys that solo kill supers. You have Nerixa with his Revenant. You have the Hard Knocks left behind super squadrons there that regularly destroy renters there. I mean, it's just a fact of the matter of life. It's the suffering that people who just cram have to generally suffer from because they are hunted down by people and they're hunted down by people who are already pre-prepared. And unless you're able to defend them sooner.
Well, that's the problem is Titan ratting and super ratting became so prevalent not because it made great money. I mean, it did make good money, but a lot of people, I don't like ratting in a super. A lot of people don't like ratting in a super. It's a lot of clicks. because you couldn't kill them as quickly. You know, they had time to react and be like, "Oh shit, I'm tackled. Can we get some help? Let's do this here." Now we can't. So now it's like, okay, and I can't use a super to defend somebody per se because they could potentially die just as easily. Um, so now what do we do? So now we've downgraded to smaller stuff that can do things, but it requires higher numbers. So when people complain, I've been dropped by a super and dealt, well, that had to be over a year ago. So because this is fucking like I either way I win with this war. If I win Delve, great. I get to keep my home and Billy can go suck a dick. If they take everything, guess what? I'm gonna be right back here with a dreadnought or a bomber or a T3 or something like that, and I will make sure that they die if they think that they're gonna be able to rat in a super in here, because they're absolutely fucking mad if they can rat with a super in Delve longer than a day. I will make
So
sure of that.
Well,
hopefully we'll
I
get the
hope you do
ratting in Desert
because
because
I,
like
I
their ratting, they can't even get Bastion out of Esoteria. That is the
They
hilarious
Oh
part.
yeah, that is really funny. So I saw that. I remember during
Let Rich talk. Hold on. Let Rich talk. He's the cat.
well, I hope to see that you do leave behind like a squadron of supers like Hard Knocks did. I hope to see that you are able to just tear them apart when they try to put down a new house and when their residents begin to move in. I hope to see that. I hope to see you're able to do these things. If you search up like kill boards like Fiona Starlight, that's I believe Braxis's alt, you'll see some of the stuff he does to terrorize Brothers of Tangra and the other residents of the drone regions. I think it's if you don't have a prepared defense, it's hard to prepare a defense because you need a standing army always ready all the time, and it's just something that not all groups are able to do. I don't know how Fraternity does it. I don't know how the hell they managed to do that,
well,
but
we have Theta, which is
it's
pretty much here all hours of the day.
it is. But well, you mentioned you've had significant difficulty dealing with say Marshy and Olmeca.
Well, the only reason we had trouble with them
Martin's
is because it would be
he's
so.
easy.
Yeah, the reason we'd have trouble with them is because it would be very quick and it would be very it'd be very difficult communication wise. Like Olmeca, for example, when Olmeca would drop on a carrier, right? 9 times out of 10, it was either a PLA carrier, a Red Alliance carrier, some non-English speaking uh, character,
Yeah,
that he would
these are
drop on. And then not only would these people not know how to communicate in English, but half of these non-English speaking people weren't even in Theta comms. Back during that Platinum Age, we would encourage people, if you're ratting, if you're mining, be on the Theta comm channel so that when you do get tackled, we can respond as quickly as possible. And that was our tactic. The problem was that you would have these 60 something bombers that can kill a carrier in under 40 seconds, um, and they would attack a non English speaking dude that wouldn't even have the time to even comprehend that, oh my god, I need to get on an English speaking comms and explain to these people that I am dying
I
with
think that's a
getting my
problem of
language across.
I think that's a problem of integration. I mean, obviously, Fraternity doesn't have that because most of them speak Chinese. But I think even the English-speaking residents of Fraternity are able to get help in the occasions we've tackled them. I think that's just a problem of integration, and I'm hoping you have translators and people who are able to
do.
effectively do these things.
We do. It's just
Honestly,
we have a lot of translators. It's just a
not always
general.
available.
Yeah, it's just a general availability thing, I guess you could call it, with the translators. Like,
The other thing is like we would see, okay, they've dropped in, let's say, 5 taxi. We see them. The intel says 30 and 5 taxi. Okay, they've dropped there. Send a scout to go see what's going on. They say, oh, Urkel's tackled. Urkels are easy to say because the panic button. Thank God. But like a carrier or super can be very difficult. And if the guy doesn't come on comms and tell us and speak, my attitude is like, I'm gonna still save them because fuck that guy. Like, they can't kill my people. Only I can kill my people. It's
I
mine.
mean,
Fuck it.
if it's a carrier, what is it getting dropped with? If it's getting dropped by bombers, I
Bombers.
mean, we've
30 to 40 bombers.
30 to 40. I mean, I've come across 30 to 40 bombers in a nano roam. It was the biggest slaughter I've ever dealt with. They had no chance against
Yeah, that's
our
a
small
very
gang fleet.
difference. Okay, but
Wait,
that's a
John,
difference.
wait,
Okay,
different.
why?
You're thinking
What
of-
would
the
you
bigger
prepare
the
against a
ship,
30 to 40 bomber fleet? I would love to
Harpy
fight a
fleet.
30 to 40 bomber fleet. I'd
You would-
dock my T3C and my Deacon
they
ult
don't
and
fight.
go to
They
town.
So
they don't fight. So if
to
they
give an idea,
it-
torpedoes apply to bigger ships better than they do smaller ships. So if you're fighting bombers, you use harpies or some kind of frigate because the torpedoes do almost nothing to them, right? So you use the smallest ship possible to fight, and they're fast and they can try to catch them. So you use the smallest ship possible to fight bombers if you're going to try to like catch them and fight. But they apply really, really well to the bigger the ship. So cruisers, battleships, carriers, they apply full DPS. And they apply a lot. Like some bombers can get up to almost 2,000 DPS if you put them polarized. And most of the guns we fought were polarized because all their goal was to kill the carrier and get out, not to get a fight. They just wanted to get the frag.
Well, here's another thing. Like the whole bomber mechanic is really, really out of bounds. Like the whole
I
concept
can warp cloak.
have that. Well, it's not the warp cloak. It's that they commit nothing to the fight, and that's the whole thing. Like Rich, when you take a fight, you are committing something to that fight. Bombers, they technically aren't committing anything other than the tackle ship. And even then, that tackle ship's not committed because after the Sino's gone, you're back to being able to get off.
Oh yeah, their tackle ship of a prospect costs them 40 mil
Yep. So there is
to
absolutely
kill
no
2 bill.
no commitment
I
whatsoever.
think
That's the part.
out of the 3 times that I've been dropped on, one of them was in my Rorqual, and they weren't even trying to kill my Rorqual. Their prospect came into the mining site, tackled my Rorqual, put on his Sino, and you know what they did? The bombers came in and they torpedoed my excavators, and the second my excavators were gone, they were cloaked, starburst out, and 5 minutes later they were out from their blob spreader. Those kinds of hunting fleets that we deal with, they aren't doing it to get any kind of fight. They're not doing it to piss people off. They're literally doing it so they can see that tiny 1.5 or 2.5 billion-isk kill mail and say, haha, that person just lost 2 billion while I am in a 25 million ship.
What really needs to happen is
Hold on, let him talk. Yeah,
Rich, you
Rich.
go to your mic. You're keying
you're
up.
micing up, but it's not. Are you talking?
His mic just. I'm seeing him key up. I'm
Okay,
not seeing
there
him
we go.
talk. There we go.
There we go.
There we go.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Wonderful.
there we
go.
I mean, that's the thing with flying cheaper ships are able to output a ton of damage and punch their way up. It's just how it is. It's how getting ganked is when you have a huge amount of numbers and you're able to do something really quickly. When it comes to a bomber against a carry, yeah, you're not going to be able to save much, and that's the thing. You're not committing much either. But then again, it goes the opposite way. All it takes is one. It doesn't even have to be a malediction. It doesn't even have to be an interceptor. All it takes is one slasher to get a scram on me, and I could lose my, my 2 bill, 3 bill malediction. And
Yeah, but there's a huge difference between a small gang of 5 people coming in, like wrecking face with really expensive ships, and 30 people with really cheap ships, fucking up people way above their up class. It's just that balance. And
I mean, how?
for one,
I mean,
as I said, I don't care.
Bombers. I mean, with 30 people, you can kill most anything in a decent amount of time. I mean, I don't even need for a super with 30 people. I don't even need bombers to kill it. You could kill it with almost any kind of fleet. That's 30 people. That's a lot of people. I mean,
That's
it's
a lot
like
of people.
saying it's unfair because a 100 million-esque frigate, the Kitsune, or if you want to go cheaper, a 15 million-esque Griffin can shut down a supercarrier. It's leveraging your advantages against, well,
I'm just saying, if I
yeah, it's just
spend, you
leveraging,
know,
simply leveraging your advantages. Like
if
a
I
Hecate
spend
can ease.
20 billion ISK on a ship, I should be able to at least fight against something that's 50 mil or less reasonably well.
Hmm.
Or what's
I'm not
the
too
point of buying
sure
this
about
big
that.
ship? What's the
Well, you
point?
buy these big
What's the
ships
point?
because they have a strategic capability. You have these big ships
For
because
what?
they do big things. I mean,
Shoot a
that's
building?
this
Guess what?
is.
Lashaks can do that just fine.
I mean, we have a CSM member who campaigned exactly for this entire case because they made the ability for super carriers to apply to small ships way too strong, and he's sought to change that, and he has.
Well, now
It's
they don't have a purpose.
Of
Well,
course,
the
they have a
problem is
purpose.
that
They have a purpose in these big fights. They have a purpose
the
in
problem that they
destroying
don't
capital ships. They have a purpose in destroying stationary targets. These are what super carriers are for. If you're going to want to deal with subcaps, you're going to want to use something that is able to effectively damage and kill subcaps.
So
You don't
the problem
you don't bring
isn't
battleships to fight a bomber. You bring destroyers to fight a bomber. You don't bring
Actually, battleships do great against bombers.
not with the speed, not with the
If you
speed.
can lock them,
See
that
the
takes a while.
what else is there? I mean, you don't bring battle cruisers to fight a bunch of frigates. I mean, you can, but you know what kills frigates even better? Destroyers and cruisers, rapid lights. You know, it's all about leveraging what the right counters to the right situation.
so there
You
was
send a bunch of
a couple of
like
years ago. Sorry, but a couple of years ago, right? We had a doctrine called the Fozzie Claw. It was the interceptor of the claw. And we would go out in fleets of 200 people and literally kill rorquals with interceptors. And we would kill an entire rorqual. And
I'm aware
CCP
because you would
CCP didn't like that. And so they changed that to make that not possible anymore. Because they literally said in a statement that a ship that small, even in large numbers, that Rorqual is almost completely defenseless against that kind of tactic, and therefore is not fair by the game's standards. So they changed it. Now we're saying the same thing is happening to these super carriers and these carriers, is that you have a small, tiny ship in not even a large quantity. You only need 50 to 60 bombers to kill a super in 90 seconds. And that's 90 seconds where that super carrier would have to bring in a secondary alt with a Sino to have a chance of countering these things. And then not only that, is that it's just the amount of time that these bombers have been abused by their base mechanics is just it's surprising that CCP decided to say, let's nerf the super capital to solve the super capital ratting. Okay, you can do that, but if you're gonna do that, also nerf the 50 people it takes to kill a super. Because if we get into something like a Keepstar fight, all it takes is one bomber fleet and you can kill a couple supers.
Oh,
talking about
maybe
50
a bit
people.
different, but
This is 50 people. This is 50, 60 people you're talking about. 50, 60, 90
Uh-huh.
people. That's a lot of people in a single fleet.
not by block standards.
No, Rich. Every weekend, bombers bomb 150 plus people, no problem. They come out of the woodwork, and it takes almost no skill.
Hey, when we
Of course, of course, I don't think whaling takes much skill. You know, you find the target, you go
I
to it, you
agree.
press F1. It's like a structure bash, but without the timers. Yeah, I don't consider it taking skill either. But that's just the matter of it. That's a lot of people you're bringing in bombers, and even if it weren't bombers, it could be something even deadlier. Like
get it, but here's the
with
thing.
bombers you can send, you know, you're talking about 60 bombers. 60 bombers, you can't get 20 people to, you know, X up with T3Ds and get them onto the scene. You can't get 30 jackdaws, 30 confessors, 30 hecates to instantly alpha these guys off. You don't have, you know, something to stop the focus. Actually, if they're loading focus void bombs, They won't be able to damage you anyway. All you're doing is protecting the target you're trying
The
to
problem
protect.
is getting a decent response ready. Because even 5 minutes with the ESS, even 5 minutes is not enough. Most people don't have their PvP ships in the same area that they have their PvE ships, because you have the central area for getting started or getting ready, for forming up, because it's just much easier. So, like, I would naturally not have my PvP ship where my PvE ship is.
Tell
Same
me
thing
about
with the
these.
bomber.
Tell me about these super carriers that were fitted up, because are they fitted up properly? Are they fitted up to PvP? Are they fitted up
No,
to survive long
they are
enough? Or are they
fitted
fitted
up.
up to the maximum optimization of,
They are fitted up to the
crowding?
no. The most people, the delve standard back in our, like, if we're talking back in the day when they were viable, we were told that you had to fit it for max tank. There was fittings for max tank, and if you did not fit for max tank, you weren't getting SRP and you weren't getting help from Theta. That was the rule. So you could fit it how you like, but if you don't use the fit that was on the forms, then you're not getting help and you're not getting your money back. That was the rule. So the thing is that these max tank supers, when I would get dropped to my super back then last year in 2019, and I get dropped by 80 something bombers. Like 100 bombers with bombers bar, right?
He had time.
I had about 3.5 minutes to get my Sino alt logged in, to get it in fleet, to get it on my super, to light, and during those 3 minutes is also the 3 minutes where Theta is getting a fleet ready to save my ass, right? That was 3 minutes. They took that 3 minutes down to 90 seconds with only half the people that Bombers Bar used to have. So if Bombers Bar continued with 100 people post-patch, it would have been less than 90 seconds to kill my ship that was worth almost 30 billion.
Then why aren't more people participating and getting ready sooner? I mean, Bombers Bar have the advantage of taking in the initiative, but they're an MPSI group. They're, I would say, a bit of a ragtag group that just forms up bombers and gets a blue scout onto their target. You're telling me you can't form up enough people?
We can form up enough people.
Forming up for these things is voluntary, right? It's purely voluntary.
Yes.
People
now
volunteer
now
to sign
what
up
you're
for it,
saying
but-
is like a 24/7 standing fleet, which we did have with Theta. We had that. The problem is
But
that
as
because of the
you said,
Sino
it's not
changes,
effective.
it's effective enough. It was effective enough to where within 2 or 3 minutes we can get there. But because of Eve, an entire session change in Eve is 15 to 30 seconds for a session change alone. So anytime you undock,
to swap clones,
to swap clones, to all of that shit, that took a minute and a half to 2 minutes. So that's that preparation time that we had to have a chance. It didn't always work. It worked a lot of the time, but, occasionally, maybe once or twice a day, you would still have a super or two that would die. But the fact that you take that 50 to 60 survival chance and CCP dumbs that down to a literal 0% chance of successfully saving your ally. And that's what got everyone so upset. That's what makes everyone so upset.
They just changed the tank, but it kept Sinos on the supers. We could probably still have saved them. But because they took both off, it just adds so much time. It takes, having 100 people sitting around at Harpies ready to go, at some point,
You don't need 100 people. You just need to you need to buy time. You need to just break enough critical mass. I mean, you're talking 60 bombers. 60 bombers. Let me just do some brainstorming here. 60 bombers.
60 bombers. Now here's the thing.
It was
It's not a matter of getting the destroyers to the bombers.
It was always 100, 150.
Yeah. And it's not getting the destroyers. Sorry, it's not getting the destroyers to the bombers that's the problem. It's getting the super to stay alive long enough to distract the bombers. Because the second that super is dead, those bombers hit F2, they cloak, and they warp out. They're
No,
not
like,
they're not
like,
looking for that impending fight. The second it's dead, they don't even fucking loot the damn thing. They just go.
Of course,
correct.
I know, and I'm not looking. I'm there to eliminate the bombers. You talk about buying more time. My way of buying more time is to kill off as much damage as fast as possible with
But you
what I
can't
have
do
on
that when the
what I have
fighters
available.
can't track the bombers
Well, of
because
course, you
they
don't use
nerfed them.
fighters to track the bombers. You send a proper fleet in to kill the bombers. Supers don't
So
apply to bombers for a reason.
let me give you an idea here, Rich. Every FC is a little different on their, I guess, willingness. So like me, I knew if I could get 30 harpies, I would go and then just send more as they come. So that's me. I'm in Theta. I know what it takes to deal with what I'm dealing with here. All right. So I'd be like, I would ping harpies. I need you right now. 30 people join. Warp to the Titan. Jump. Here we go. We're gonna scare these guys off. That's all we're gonna do is scare them off because they're gonna see locals start going up and they'll run. And 30 harpies can kill bombers really effectively. Other
Fuck yeah, they
FCs,
will.
other FCs and other alliances, or even our own alliance, they would want an actual fleet comp. So we have had times where like FCs took too long. Like you literally have 30 seconds to get people in fleet and going to get time. Asking people who are not comfortable with this, who don't know what they're doing, like me, Kunmi, a couple other people knew what they were doing and were comfortable with just like fuck it, I'm gonna save this super, fuck everybody else. The problem is when we had 150 bombers show up, guess what also showed up? 5 dreads. It was never just
Oh, of
bombers.
course. At that point, you can't save them. At that point, what you're.
Exactly.
I mean, that's
Shocker.
that's you want to try and find a way to save them. You want to try and what? You want to put a panic system onto these supers? Is that what
No,
you
we
want?
want our tank back. We want.
In 90 seconds.
We
I just
want.
want them to not die in 90
Yes,
seconds.
like
You're
if
talking
I.
about 4 dreads. You're talking about 4 dreadnoughts and 90 bombers. That's a lot of damage. I mean,
Yeah, that's a
I don't
lot of
expect
damage.
anybody
Now,
to survive
now
on.
here's the thing: is that even with even.
And I think that's perfectly fine. That's a lot of people you got to prepare.
Yeah,
So
but
when
now
you
here's the
have
thing.
a super, so you have a super being tackled and neutered by legions and stratiuses. So 3 stratii with newts and tackle can hold a super down, no problem, right? And then you have 4 dreadnoughts and 50 to 100 bombers somewhere in there. It's always how it was. What do? You can't get enough harpies to kill the dreads. The dreads are just going to kill the super. The super is already inhibited because they always put an inhib down before he even gets there. So you can't just like throw a fax on him. The faxes have to come in at 100 kilometers. What do? You know what the answer was? Stop super ratting, figure something else out.
Yep, and you
Yeah,
sit
I
there
think that's
and
a
you
perfectly
die.
reasonable response. I mean,
And yet everybody, why did you stop ratting with supers? Like you fucking baby. Like no, we're just stupid. Like we know what we fucking deal with. Shut the fuck up, people. Like, Billy thinks he knows how Delve works. He has no fucking idea how Delve works. Okay? You have Titan, you have Dreadnought.
So you're not happy because you can't save them all the time, but
no, we're not happy because what they did was they made a change that basically tipped the scales of our way of life, and they tipped the scales of how we can respond and adjust to that way of life. And it wasn't a very good transition because it was never something that we expected. It was on a Monday we find out that our super one Monday we wake up to a message from CCP saying, "Remember that super that has 11 million EHP? Yeah, well it's about to have 2.1 million tomorrow night. Have fun." And then 12 hours later, patch happens, gone.
Could this be? You know what? Could this be a failure to adapt to a new way of life? Because if you look on the other side of the pond, if you look at Fraternity, they're still ratting in supers, and they're able to save them at a good rate. I mean, you don't see them complaining when they get dropped on by two or three supers that have been logged up, and they can't save those at all. I mean, the way Fraternity saves their supers is. Say what?
You know how much effort goes into that? So to get supers or titans or dreadnoughts in range of doing that, you have to commit a character, as as we've talked about before, as a logged off alt somewhere, and you gotta hope that you can make that happen, and they could still get saved because all you've got are because you don't have a region where you can literally just jump 100 bombers to just do the initial damage and then
Have
add
you
the
considered
dreadnoughts.
spreading out your protection? Like, not relying on just one single focal point, just one single umbrella. This is what the trouble we have with fraternity and why they are so aggressive to our actions. It's because they I don't know how to call it. I'm going to call it the banner system, where each region, each sorry, not region, but each constellation, each pocket, each such, they're protected by a single corp, and then they'll bring other corps in. So if we attack something like if we go and attack a Trangxi super carrier, we'll have 5, 10, 15 people from Trangxi show up. If we were in bombers, they'd absolutely slaughter us because they're coming in nano ships. They respond quickly. They immediately dock up their ratting ships, or they just log in and they respond quickly because their super umbrella, it's mostly concentrated in Oasa. Their local defense umbrella is all over the place. They've got
They
a
don't
different way of life,
have,
and I understand it's difficult to adapt,
have
but
a,
I think it's a failure to
don't have
adapt
a
that's causing
threat.
your issues.
No, they don't have a threat of 100
Of course,
dreadnoughts
they have a
docking.
threat. They're
No, they
they're one
don't.
of the
No,
most
they don't.
roamed in places ever.
Do they?
Yeah,
Now
okay.
here's the thing: when
Okay,
I roam in
okay. Old try
fraternity
running
space,
around is of no consequence. If there is a 5-man gang running in Delph, I could not care less because the most you're gonna kill is a Myrmidon or a Ratter of some or a VNI, whatever. That's an acceptable loss. Like we'll try to catch if we can, but like at some point, like whatever. I'm talking about they don't have the insta undock 100 dreadnoughts. Like if a Titan made a really bad move nowadays, like, let's say there was no war and a Titan was out there doing its thing and it undocked and it jumped somewhere bad and it was in a bad position on a beacon or something. Guess what? 30 dreads, it's dead. And I could not get enough people probably there in time to save it. There is
Hold on. Before the war, you had initiative to the north, you had Losec to the east, which sort of puts any chance of that being used as staging awkward. You had Big Bill locking down the Blood Raider station. You had Period
radio
Basis and
station.
Querius to the south, which were all both controlled by you, or at least you had eyes on it. With Fraternity up north, they've got an NPC system that they can't control. That they've got Trigger Happy, Dark Side, these type of groups. These were aggressive groups, and they fought against them all the time, and they won. I don't. You had blues surrounding you.
And guess
NPC
what?
because here's the thing: is that you would have.
And they had alts in every single one of them, and they could undock from any single one. Big Bill the Boss is a one-man army, but you know he ain't everybody. And unless we wanted to camp every single NPC station every day, and I can tell you that we don't. It's fucking boring after a while because all they do is undock a bunch of bombers who just cloak and warp away anyways. It sucked. It sucks. Like we hate it. I I like gate camping, but like I'm not gonna sit there and gate camp at one station just to have them death clone to another, undock immediately before I can move over there and have them warp to their blobs and go on their merry way. Like trust me, I've tried it. I've tried to stop Vic Jefferson. I've tried to prevent them from getting on their blocks to run amok through Delve. It is so much work. It's so much effort. Like at some point, you're just like, you know what? What's worth it? All right, kill a Myrmidon, whatever. You take some drones, whatever. You just pick your battle. At some point, you have to pick your battle.
And I'm guessing the way you picked the battle is you stopped ratting in supers.
Basically, if we couldn't save a
And
character, supers and titans were our personal stopping point. You have to get people willing to do it, and if people aren't willing to do it, you got to work with what you get.
that's what you have to work with in the end. And now, because you have less or no people ratting in supers, I'm guessing you don't have to deal with these 90-man bomber fleets.
Oh no, Bombers Bar hasn't streamed in how many months? Omega Gold quit the game. Marshy quit the game. Like literally, it was only our alliance, and that was the problem. Is that you had Bombers Bar, Omega Gold, and Marshy doing all of this camping shit with all of these bombers and dreads 24/7 all throughout the day, all throughout the region. And even when we were able to respond to this, like you were suggesting with constant Harpy, the 100-man Harpy fleet waiting at the ready, John Hartley took out God knows how many harpy fleets every day to defend against this. And the problem was that we started accumulating so much jump aids from how many fucking bomber fleets we were murdering throughout every single day, 7 days a week. And that was the big problem, is that it was just constant. It never stopped, you know?
I was in charge of this. I know exactly what was happening every day, what it took, getting people. Like, the problem is like, there's also that line of like, what are people willing to fight for? And not everybody's willing to defend themselves. Like, it's just a reality of it. And they have to like pick out their battles. Like, are they willing to fight for their home or not? Not everyone was back then. Now we are. Like, now things are happening and things are changing because they don't really have a choice. But when it came to like super ratting and stuff like that, it was not always everybody on board with helping out. So basically, you got like 30 people manning the battle stations to protect Delve. Pretty much, sometimes it was just me and telling people what to do, at least at night. So you know, Owasa has it easy. They do not have NPC stations where people can undock dreads and just murder everything. If I had the ability, let me tell you, if they warped in supers to me and I had the ability to undock a dread and warp it over to that ESS gate and murder that dread, that super, before they could even respond, I would do it in a heartbeat, even if it meant losing the dread. But they don't have that problem. They don't have to deal with that. Getting ships to their space requires like 3 or 4 mids and then logging off and hoping. Like, who is, like, no one wants to do that. It's just boring. So Awasa, they all have it easy. Easy mode. That's why they can run around in 2 billion-esque battleships trying to kill things. Because they don't have to worry about someone actually threatening their space. So, but
I
we've
see.
been going forever.
I can show you defense fleet right now if you'd like.
Oh,
I'll stream it right now,
yeah.
right
Oh
here.
my god, is it working?
I gotta head to bed.
Watch it. Yeah, I've been
Yeah.
experiencing Owasa defense fleets, which have been like the weirdest shit ever. What are you killing? A Kiki? Oh, you got easy mode. Those things
I
are
can't.
easy.
It's
You
very
only
hard.
throw, like,
It's very hard for me to pull this up on
fuck
stream because of my technical
Oh, I'm
difficulties
sorry,
with this
but
right now.
yeah, right
But
now,
it's okay.
as we're stream, as we're talking on stream, I am in a home defense.
That's fine. They don't
I'm
need to see.
defending.
Yeah.
What are you in?
I'm in a confessor.
Oh, is that?
We're talking about using bombers
That's
to
a
protect stuff.
wormhole.
I mean,
You're in a
our ratting
wormhole.
fleet is getting ganked right now.
That's crazy. I'm watching. Did you kill the Kiki or did it warp away?
No, the Drogo warped. I'm sorry to those on the stream that are able to see this.
Yeah,
but, right now,
I apologize for my CPU's incapability of being able to share this right now.
I don't care how the war ends, because A, you're never going to kill my supers unless you actually fight down and keep. And B, I'm going to have fun running amok and down. Either way. Okay, so there's an Algos, a Pontifac. Something died over there. Are they trying to? What are they trying to? What are they trying to kill?
I do believe we should
they're
wrap it up
trying to
here
kill
a bit.
They're trying to kill 3 of our
Wrap it
Leshaks and the
up.
Wolf Rayet. They've got well over 2,000 DPS in our hull with the Wolf Rayet effects going on.
I do believe we should
They affect
move
the
over
small things,
to
right?
closing remarks. Don, do we want to go to closing remarks?
Well, I'll try and conclude it here.
Closing
With
remarks.
that many number of ships, unless you have Logi on grid, it's perfectly normal why you're not able to save it. And I don't think it's right that, such large ships should apply so evenly to smaller ships. It's just how the game is balanced. If you want to use, the biggest ships can't apply to the smaller ships. It's just how it's balanced.
Well, the way that I think the general point that we were trying to get
My
across
closing
was that
remark
Good.
is-
You're lagging, Don.
Yeah, because I'm watching this thing. The stop. Okay, so my final remark, dumb, so I'm calling him dumb back, is that, Delve is not like the promised land as it used to be. But have fun with it either way. If you get it, great. If you don't get it, that's fine with me too. Dia, any closing remarks?
Honestly, I think they're on the ESS stuff. I think they got it going in the right direction. I think my only biggest complaint on it is the fact that they're kind of locking you into a 3-hour play session. But yeah.
Mifune, any closing remarks?
So I think my one last note to Rich with the way that Delve used to be is that the balance that we had was that yes, supers cannot apply to something as small as a bomber. So the defense tactic that we had was that we had a bigger tank, that it took longer to kill us in that super, and that was our chance at defense, was to hold on to the tank until we could get friends to come and destroyers. That was our defense. Now with current day patches, we have 0 defense against those types of situations. And that's kind of the problem, is that the imbalance does not lie within anything else than the fact that we have no defense, which is why we can't use things like supers and carriers to make money anymore, and they're not as effective.
Goon. I mean, the general rule is think of a goon and just like remove all function. There you go. That's a goon.
Yeah, but as far as other things go, with Villy, if you get Delve, man, good fucking luck. just good fucking luck, man. Good fucking luck. And then with ESS, I enjoy it. I haven't personally played it because small gang stuff isn't my stuff. Sorry, I don't play ESS that much, but I'm sure it's looking like it's a great mechanic. But that's about it.
All right. Well, we had a great week this week. Thanks for everybody coming. I appreciate y'all hanging out. Have a good night.
Yep. Good night, everybody.
Good night, all.
Actually,
I can actually turn on my camera.